Chapter 1856. In the Star-Secret Realm. Inside the tertiary space. Longao didn't know how far he had traveled so far. He didn't know when he would reach the center of the space. Longao encountered countless dangers along the way, but he was always able to overcome them. That was it. 3 months had passed before he knew it. Longao couldn't have been more frustrated. It had been 3 months, but he still hadn't reached the center of the space. It was hard to imagine how far it was. Longao wasn't the only one. After 3 months, many of those who had not died had also broken through to the starry sky cultivator realm. For example, Purple Thunder, Xingkuan, and the Beast Ancestor. According to the situation, when they were teleported out in 9 months, almost all of them would have become starry sky cultivators. After all, the marvelous mathematician deliberately went easy on them. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to keep so many people. For countless years, only 2 people, namely Tiandao and Long Batian, had successfully left. It wasn't hard to imagine how crazy the test of the Star-Secret Realm was. Master, I believe that the later part of the journey will be infinitely more dangerous. You won't be able to reach the center of the space with your current primordial spirit. Longao, who had already rested, was shocked when he heard Long Fu's voice transmission. It seemed that Long Fu had sensed something. Long Fu, what should I do? Master, I'm going to refine your primordial spirit. Refine the primordial spirit? What did that mean? Longao was very curious. He didn't know what Long Fu meant by refining the primordial spirit. As if he could guess what his master was thinking, Long Fu continued, it's very simple. I can refine your primordial spirit with the power of the dragon seal. Although you're only a level 1 starry sky cultivator, your primordial spirit can be strengthened first. In this way, your primordial spirit attack will have an unexpected effect. I see. Longao certainly wouldn't refuse such a good thing. According to Long Fu, Longao first set up a shield of reincarnation sword chi around his body, in case the marvelous mathematician sensed it. Master, I'm here. He nodded heavily. Life essence was the most important thing for a starry sky cultivator. Once one's life essence was destroyed, they would never be able to reincarnate. They would not even have the chance to step into the cycle of reincarnation. He gritted his teeth. A painful expression instantly covered his face. Although Longao had already guessed it, he still did not expect that tempering the primordial spirit would be so painful. Even so, he resisted the urge to shout out loud. Master, you must hold on. The longer you hold on, the stronger your primordial spirit will be, and the more beneficial it will be for your future cultivation. Since that was the case, he had to persevere. His primordial spirit was enveloped by the power released by the dragon seal and began to be refined. In the dragon seal space. Long Fu, it won't do you any good to start refining Longao's soul so early. Xiling and Bai Ling were both curious. They knew very well that Long Fu would not harm Longao. If that was the case, why would Long Fu choose to refine Longao's primordial spirit at this moment? What did he mean? Long Fu smiled and said, the 2 ladies may not know, but the power of the dragon seal is very special. Back then, the old master relied on the dragon seal to refine his primordial spirit. At this point, Long Fu obviously did not want to say more. Instead, he said, if master can hold on for 3 days, then the refinement of his primordial spirit will be considered a success. The longer he can hold on, the better it will be for master. Before Xiling and Bai Ling could say anything, Long Fu continued, if the 2 ladies are willing to help master, then it will be twice the result with half the effort. We have no problem with that. Neither Xiling nor Bai Ling would refuse. To them, the stronger Longao's primordial spirit was, the better it would be for them. Long Fu, what should we do? It's very simple. As long as the 2 ladies' power of origin fuse with the power of the dragon seal and refine master's primordial spirit together, then, Long Fu had a smile on his face. His meaning was very clear. All right, let's begin. Since it would be beneficial to Longao, Xiling and Bai Ling did not hesitate at all. The 2 of them immediately began to release their power of origin. Xiling's power of origin, Bai Ling's power of origin, and the power of the dragon seal. The three powers fused together and immediately began to refine Longao's primordial spirit. It was painful, extremely painful. It was as if thousands of knives were constantly stabbing him. However, Longao did not choose to give up. This was because he knew that as long as he could hold on, and the longer he could hold on, the better it would be for his primordial spirit. There was almost no problem with Longao's perseverance. The fact that he could hold on for 10 years was enough to prove Longao's character and tenacity. In this way, under the incomparably painful tempering, Longao held on for a whole month. Seeing this situation, not to mention Xiling and Bai Ling, even Long Fu was completely stunned. According to his calculations, his master could hold on for 3 days, which was already very impressive. However, he never expected that his master could hold on for a whole month. If he had not seen it with his own eyes, he would have found it hard to believe. Was this real? Master, how do you feel? Powerful. There were only 2 words, 2 simple words, and that was powerful. After a month of perseverance, Longao discovered that his primordial spirit was incomparably powerful, as if he had been reborn. Strike while the iron is hot. Master, your primordial spirit is even more powerful than I thought. I'll teach you a primordial spirit attack, which is different from that of other star-state cultivators. It's even weirder and more powerful. Long Fu did not hesitate at all and immediately began to teach him. After another 10 days, Longao finally grasped the primordial spirit attack that Long Fu had taught him. Counting the time, plus the previous 3 months and the current 40 days, there were less than 8 months left before the 1-year deadline. He hoped that he could reach the center of the space before the remaining 8 months. Longao was eager to see what kind of reward the clairvoyant master would give him after he successfully broke through the tertiary space. A star divine spark? A star state artifact? A star state martial skill? Among the Starry Sky Divine Deity, Starry Sky Divine Tools and Starry Sky Martial Skills, Longao wanted to obtain the Starry Sky Divine Deity the most. If he could obtain a Grade 8 Starry Sky Divine Deity, or a Grade 9 Starry Sky Divine Deity, then it would be the best. In that case, he could definitely create a Grade 8 or Grade 9 Starry Sky Cultivator. Wouldn't it be great if that were the case? Thinking of this, Longao immediately got up and hurried on his way. If he wanted to get the reward, he had to get there as soon as possible. P.S. Chapter 1 of Outburst. Chapter 1857. The surrounding rocks began to disappear slowly. What entered his eyes was a field of flowers and plants. The chirping of birds and the fragrance of flowers was like a paradise on earth. Far in the distance, inside the huge pavilion, there were 8 young ladies. Each of them had their own charm, and every one of them had a devastatingly beautiful appearance. Their figures were even more alluring. Where did this young master come from? Looking at Longao approaching from afar, the 8 young ladies stood up at the same time and asked with smiles on their faces. He looked at the 8 of them warily. Who are you guys? Longao did not reply to their questions at all. He was no fool. Anyone who could appear in the tertiary space would definitely not be simple. Hee hee, hee hee. The 8 girls all laughed, each and every one of them was smiling beautifully. Young master, if you wish to pass through this place, you'll have to defeat us. But judging by your strength, I don't think you can do it. How about this? As long as you promise to accompany each of us for 100 years, we'll let you pass after 800 years. How about that? So flirtatious. Flirtatious to the maximum. Even if it was Longao, he could not help but shudder in fear. He retreated hurriedly. Seduction. Just as Longao's essence spirit was in a momentary daze, a surge of energy surged out of his mind and devoured the power of the seduction. Looking at the other party waking up so quickly, the 8 beautiful young ladies were surprised. Seems like the young master's strength is pretty decent. 8 level 2-star cultivators. Even any one of them was not someone he could deal with, let alone the 8 of them working together. He would be lying if he said that he wasn't wary. Make way. Even in the face of 8 beauties, Longao maintained his cold expression. If it were anyone else, they would definitely be tempted by these beauties. Sisters, Since this young master wants to do things the hard way, there's no need for us to hold back. Let's go. The 8 of them were extremely fast, such that one could only see a series of afterimages. All 8 of them were under attack at the same time. He didn't know if it was because the opponent's speed was too fast, or because of the difference in realm. Longao didn't even have time to react before he was sent flying by the attack. In mid-air, Longao forcefully twisted his body and swung his sword backward. The Samsara sword combined with the 5th move of Samsara meteorite explosion. The terrifying Samsara sword chi was like a spider web, directly enveloping the 8 people. Would the 8 of them be afraid? There was no doubt about it. Even if the 8 of them were all grade 2 starry sky cultivators, they did not dare to face the reincarnation sword chi head-on. While dodging, Longao took advantage of this opportunity to break out from the left side. You want to leave? The expressions of the 8 people finally changed. They truly did not put Longao in their eyes. After all, the other party was just a grade 1 starry sky cultivator. And the result? Fighting 1 against 8, Longao was soon unable to hold on. He had no choice but to summon the reincarnation doppelganger. No matter what, the reincarnation doppelganger was immortal and could help Longao absorb a large portion of the attack. Even so, Longao knew that it would be almost impossible for him to defeat the 8 of them, unless he used the strength of a Class 8 Starry Sky Soul Slave. However, he absolutely could not allow that. What should he do? Thinking about it. In the end, Longao locked on to using stillness to counter the situation, which was to use unchanging to deal with myriad changes. As time went by, Longao slowly sensed that the 8 people's attacks seemed to be very special. Let's take a risk. Once he succeeded, he might be able to leave this place smoothly. But if he failed, he would also die here. The opportunity had finally arrived. While the reincarnation doppelganger was holding back the 4 people, Longao used teleportation to get rid of the 4 people and instantly appeared in front of the reincarnation doppelganger, behind the 4 people. Be careful. The 4 people fighting the reincarnation doppelganger, on hearing the other 4 sisters' shouts, all of them had a bad feeling in their hearts. Before the 4 people could react, Longao's essence spirit attack had already arrived. After a month of tempering, Longao's essence spirit had become very powerful. If they only relied on their own strength, then the 8 people had underestimated Longao. Ah! A blood-curdling scream rang out. Before the other 7 people could react to what had happened, another blood-curdling scream rang out. It sounded like a pig being slaughtered. He did not continue to use his essence spirit attack, because in this case, being able to use his essence spirit attack twice was already a blessing in disguise. If he continued to use his essence spirit attack at this time, he might end up losing the rice used to lure the chicken. The 2 girls who were attacked by the primordial spirit just now had pale faces. They fell to the ground and couldn't move at all. They had to admit that Longao was indeed ruthless. He could actually make a move on such beautiful girls. Moreover, it was a deadly move. Longao had always understood a truth, that is, being kind to the enemy was being cruel to oneself. If he did not take action, he was afraid that he would be the one to fall. Longao would definitely not make such a low-level mistake. An essence spirit attack, a puny grade 1 starry sky cultivator with such a powerful essence spirit. Seeing that the 2 girls had only suffered damage to their essence spirits and were not in any danger to their lives, the other 6 people breathed a sigh of relief. However, they were still shocked. Until now, they still could not figure out how the other party, a grade 1 starry sky cultivator, could have such a powerful essence spirit that his essence spirit attack could injure the 2 girls. You dare to hurt our sisters, I will tear you to pieces today. The remaining 6 people did not continue to talk nonsense and rushed towards Longao one by one. Before they arrived, a terrifying murderous aura had already arrived. 6 terrifying murderous auras combined to suppress Longao. One could imagine how powerful they were. He sneered. Longao had already thought of a countermeasure, which was to create a diversion. Just as the 6 people attacked, Longao's figure disappeared again with the help of teleportation. In the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of the 2 seriously injured girls. Brat, you dare. Seeing Longao constantly teleporting, the 6 people seemed to have guessed something. Peak speed, space teleportation. The other party had such a powerful martial skill, no wonder he was so arrogant. Not only that, the 6 people also guessed what the other party wanted to do. He wanted to attack the 2 girls and threaten the 6 of them. If the 2 of them were in their heyday, of course, they would not be afraid of a puny grade 1 starry sky cultivator. However, the situation now was completely different. The 2 of them were seriously injured by Longao's essence spirit attack. Not to mention a grade 1 starry sky cultivator, even a Nirvana realm cultivator could casually kill the 2 of them. If that was the case, the consequences would be unimaginable. Why wouldn't I dare? Longao smiled. Things had already reached this point, yet the 6 people still tried to threaten him. Did they really think that he would not dare? Chapter 1858. Boy, how dare you? Seeing that the other party was about to attack the 2 girls, the 6 people roared angrily again. Longao felt helpless, but in this case, it was either you die or I die. How could he stop? As the saying goes, being merciful to the enemy is being cruel to yourself. Without the slightest pity for the fairer sex. One in each hand, he directly grabbed the 2 beautiful girls. All of you stop for me, otherwise, I will kill the 2 of them immediately. The 6 people, who had already arrived, saw that the 2 sisters had been controlled by the other party and stopped abruptly. Anger. The faces of the 6 people were filled with endless anger. 8 people joined forces, but the other party still took advantage of the situation. Where would they put their face? A threat. A blatant threat. However, at this moment, Longao was fully qualified to threaten the 6 people. With a sneer, he said coldly, "As long as you are willing to let me go, the grievances between us will be written off. How about it? Dream on. You hurt our 2 sisters, and you want to leave just like that?" Ah. Before the 6 people finished speaking, the 2 beautiful girls in Longao's hands screamed and continued to attack with their essence spirit. Longao had already thought about it. As long as the 6 people did not agree, he would continue to attack with his essence spirit. Fortunately, he had tempered his essence spirit, otherwise, he would be helpless in the face of these 8 beauties. Last chance. The 6 people sneered, but when they heard the screams, their faces changed instantly, and they hurriedly said, "Okay, as long as you let go of our 2 sisters, we will let you go." Do you think I am a fool? Longao could almost be sure that as long as he let go of the 2 in his hands, the 6 people in front of him would definitely attack him. At that time, who could he find to reason with? Then what do you want? The faces of the 6 people became more and more gloomy, and they looked as ugly as they could. Being threatened by a small grade 1 starry sky cultivator was simply unprecedented. If this matter spread out, where would their face go? It's very simple. After I leave, I will naturally let the 2 of them go. Without giving the 6 people the slightest chance to answer, Longao began to slowly walk back. Big sister, what should we do? 5th sister and 6th sister are still in his hands. We can't act rashly. Otherwise, the 2 sisters will be harmed. The others nodded in agreement. That was it. Longao led the 2 of them back slowly. It looked very slow, but it was actually very fast. In a short while, Longao's figure had completely disappeared. If you want to leave, we'll have to see if you have the strength to do so. Big sister, what should we do now? Invite Big Brother over. The remaining 5 people shrugged their shoulders helplessly. Asking their big brother for help to deal with a puny grade 1 starry sky cultivator felt like making a mountain out of a molehill. But how could they not invite Big Brother? The other party's primordial spirit was so powerful that even 5th sister and 6th sister had nearly lost their lives due to their carelessness. Just like that, the 6 of them did not give chase. Instead, they headed in another direction. The 8 of them were not humans, but 8 spider demons, which were the starry sky spiders. Their eldest brother was also a starry sky spider, but he was a level 3 starry sky divine beast. Not only was his strength strong, even his primordial spirit was far superior to other cultivators. Outside a huge cave. 6 sisters, Why are you here? Where are fifth sister and sixth sister? At this time, a burly man walked out of the cave. His eyes were extremely small and his mouth was huge, giving people a very strange feeling. This burly man was the eldest brother of the 8, Feng Zhong. Big brother, something big happened. The 6 of them did not dare to hide anything and told him what had just happened. Until now, the 6 of them still felt a little angry. They never thought that the other party, a puny grade 1 starry sky cultivator, would have such a terrifying primordial spirit attack. Let's go. Suppressing the anger in his heart, Feng Zhong's face was gloomy as he led the 6 of them away quickly. In a short while, they had disappeared without a trace. In another place, putting the 2 of them on the ground, Longao said indifferently, "You'd better be obedient. When I am safe, I will naturally let you go. Otherwise." At this point, Longao did not continue. However, the meaning behind his words was very clear. If he could leave this place smoothly, then the 2 of them would also survive. If he could not leave this place, then sorry, but the 2 of them would have to die with him. The 2 of them looked extremely pale and their primordial spirits had suffered heavy injuries. If not for their strength, they would have died long ago. How could they have waited until now? The 2 of them looked very ugly. As grade 2 starry sky cultivators, they were humiliated by a puny grade 1 starry sky cultivator. The 2 of them even thought of dying. "Boy, don't think that you have one. I can tell you that my sisters will definitely not let you go. Humph, when the time comes, I will let you know the feeling of living a life worse than death." "Is that so?" Longao sneered and slapped them directly. With a "pa" sound, the 2 of them were stunned. The 2 of them never thought that the other party would dare to slap them. Not to mention the issue of strength, just the fact that the other party had tender feelings for the fairer sex was something that the other party should not have done. Was their charm not enough? These 2 people's thoughts were really unique. Charm, this thing, also depended on the person. If it was someone else, it might be useful, but Longao definitely would not be useful. "I don't have the patience to waste time with you. As long as I can leave this place smoothly, nothing will happen to the 2 of you. If I can't leave this place, then you will die with me." It was a blatant threat, but in this case, Longao was fully qualified to threaten them. Who let the 2 of them fall into his hands? If Longao wanted them dead, they would die. If he wanted them alive, they would live. Big brother, that is the person who took away 5th sister and 6th sister. Grade 1 starry sky cultivator. Sensing the strength of the other party, Feng Zhong's face changed dramatically. Previously, when the 6 people said that the other party was just a grade 1 starry sky cultivator, he did not believe it. Now that he saw it with his own eyes, even if he did not believe it, he had no choice. A grade 1 starry sky cultivator, under the joint efforts of 8 grade 2 starry sky cultivators, managed to take away his 5th sister and 6th sister. Was this for real? Big brother, although this person's strength is not that great, his life essence attack is very powerful. Due to carelessness, 5th sister and 6th sister fell into his trap. It was because they found out that the other party's life essence attack was very powerful that the 6 people asked their big brother to come out. Otherwise, if it was an ordinary person, with their strength, how could they ask their big brother to come out? It was simply a joke. Chapter 1859. Let the 2 of them go, and I can spare your life. Looking at the 7 people who appeared in front of him, Longao felt very surprised. Grade 3 starry sky cultivators. I just said that as long as I can get out of here smoothly, the 2 of them will be safe. Otherwise, they will be buried with me. You're looking for death. The next second. Just when Longao was about to leave with the 2, he suddenly sensed that a spirit essence was attacking him. It startled him. The other party's spirit essence was very powerful. His starry sky spirit essence had already been tempered, otherwise, this blow alone would have been enough to consign him to eternal damnation. Humph! With a cold snort, Longao did not sit still and directly counterattacked with his spirit essence. The 2 powerful spirit essences fiercely collided with each other. The gap between their realms was too big. Longao gave a muffled groan and flew out directly. Quickly save 5th sister and 6th sister. As the two were rescued, Fengzhong's figure directly appeared in front of Longao. The speed of a grade 3 starry sky cultivator was too fast. Before Longao could stand up, the other party had already arrived in front of him. Aren't you very powerful? It seems that hearing about you is not as good as meeting you in person. With a face full of ridicule, Fengzhong fiercely chopped out with his palm. Things had already turned out this way. Was there any other choice other than to meet force with force? Facing the two palms, Longao directly used the Starry Sky martial skill, Absolute Extermination Palm. Under normal circumstances, a Grade 1 Starry Sky cultivator daring to meet a Grade 3 Starry Sky cultivator head-on was simply courting death. But the result? Not only did Longao retreat by more than 10 steps, even Fengzhong also took a step back. 1 step. Although it was just 1 step, for Fengzhong, it was an unacceptable thing. If the other party was a Grade 3 Starry Sky cultivator, it would be understandable if he could force him to take a step back. However, in the current situation, the other party was not a Grade 3 Starry Sky cultivator, but a Grade 1 Starry Sky cultivator. Yet, he could force him to retreat. Was it true? As for Longao, he knew very well that with his strength alone, he was not an opponent of the other party. The only reason he could force the other party back was because of the Absolute Extermination Palm. Starry Sky martial skill. Fengzhong instantly understood what had happened. His face was instantly filled with greed, because Fengzhong was almost certain that the Starry Sky martial skill that the other party had just used was at least a Grade 4 Starry Sky martial skill. Otherwise, how could the other party have repelled him by 1 step? The 8 women were shocked. Big brother, kill him. This was a great humiliation. If Longao didn't die, where would their dignity go? Kid, how many of my moves can you withstand? With a smile on his face, Fengzhong's figure suddenly disappeared in the next second. The Starry Sky Spider's true form appeared. Longao could be proud of himself. He had actually caused Fengzhong to reveal his true form. A huge grayish-black spider appeared and let out a squeaking sound. From Fengzhong's huge mouth, countless spider webs suddenly spat out. Let's go. Not daring to meet force with force, Longao directly used space teleportation, and his figure instantly disappeared. The area covered by Fengzhong's spiderweb was too large. Even if he used spatial teleportation, he wouldn't be able to leave. If that was the case, once he appeared, he would definitely be entangled by the spiderweb. The consequences would be unimaginable. In this case, holding the Samsara sword, Longao's figure suddenly appeared in front of Fengzhong. Instead of running away, he chose to take the initiative to attack. You're courting death. Fengzhong was furious. The other party simply didn't take him seriously. If he didn't kill the other party, he wouldn't be able to get through this. A terrifying roar sounded, and then, countless spiderwebs covered the sky and the earth. 36 reincarnation styles. The 5th style, Reincarnation Meteorite Explosion. The reincarnation sword chi was released, like a sky full of shooting stars, constantly attacking the surrounding spiderwebs. When Longao's cultivation hadn't broken through to the Starry Sky cultivator, he could break through the Starry Sky power released by Starry Sky cultivators with the Samsara sword in his hand, let alone now. The spiderweb couldn't trap the reincarnation sword chi at all, let alone cover Longao. Seeing this, Fengzhong was shocked and angry. The other party's strength was obviously very weak, but how could he block his attacks again and again? If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he would have found it hard to believe. Big sister, let's do it. En. The two, whose essence spirits were seriously injured, slowly withdrew. Because their injuries were too serious, if they participated in the battle, they would die without a doubt. Then, 6 huge spiders appeared at the same time, 6 different colors. Under normal circumstances, spiders should be very ugly. However, the 6 spiders with different colors gave people a very charming feeling, just like mermaids. Together with Fengzhong, 7 huge spiders attacked Longao at the same time, besieging him. 7 Starry Sky cultivators had joined forces, and Feng Zhong was a grade 3 starry sky cultivator. If others knew about this, no one would believe it. Since they couldn't fight with force, they could only outsmart them. With the help of the space teleportation, it wouldn't be easy for the 7 people to hurt Longao. After dodging left and right, Longao suddenly changed his strategy. With the help of the space teleportation, his body instantly disappeared and reappeared in front of the two. You. The two were completely scared out of their wits. In this case, if the other party wanted to kill them, it would be a simple matter. The two never thought that the other party would dare to deal with the two of them while being besieged by 7 people. Not to mention the two, even Feng Zhong's group of 7 was shocked. They never thought that the other party would use such a move. In the end, the 7 people did not put Longao in their eyes. They did not think that Longao could deal with the two of them under their siege. If a grade 1 starry sky cultivator wanted to do this, there was only one way, and that was to use the space teleportation. However, this kind of abnormal spirit technique had not appeared for many years. Why would it appear in a small grade 1 starry sky cultivator? Moreover, everyone could clearly sense that the other party had just broken through to the starry sky cultivator realm. You dare? Why wouldn't I dare? Things had already reached this point. Even if he did not take action, would the other party let him go? It was impossible. Since that was the case, why should he be polite? In any case, it was either you die or I die. Instead of this, he might as well kill one of them. Longao did not even want to refine the other party. This was a deep sense of disgust. For so long, Longao had never experienced such a situation. Seeing that the other party was really going to take action, the 7 people were shocked and stopped abruptly. Feng Zhong suppressed his anger and said, "Boy, as long as you let the 2 of them go, I can promise you that I will let you leave this place. P.S. The 4th chapter has been delivered. Don't curse, little 9 will definitely explode with 10 chapters today. 6 chapters left." Chapter 1860. They chose to compromise. Would Longao believe them? There's no problem in letting them go. The 7 of them were overjoyed, but before they could react, Longao said again, "The 7 of you have to swear a blood oath. From now on, you're not allowed to attack me." No matter what realm they were in, even if they were Starry Sky Domain Emperors, they wouldn't dare to swear a blood oath casually. "Kid, don't go too far. Ha ha ha, you guys are really shameless." Longao didn't believe that the 7 of them would let him go. What a joke. He would be a fool if he believed them. He didn't hesitate any longer. Since he was going to fight anyway, he might as well fight sooner rather than later. The Samsara sword in his hand had already shot out 2 rays of Samsara sword chi, 1 for each. Their primordial spirits were severely injured. Even if they wanted to resist, they were powerless. They could only watch as the sword chi penetrated their bodies and destroyed their primordial spirits. "I'm going to kill you." Seeing their 2 younger sisters being killed right under their noses, Feng Zhong and the rest completely exploded. The 7 huge spiders began to attack Longao in a frenzy. Densely packed spiderwebs covered the entire area. Even if Longao could use teleportation to leave and appear continuously, under such a dense spiderweb, it was not an easy thing to escape. If this went on, only death would await him. What should he do? Kill? Feng Zhong was extremely furious. He didn't want any more treasures and wanted to kill his opponent first. The dense attacks were like rain, constantly attacking Longao and covering the entire space. In this way, Longao had nowhere to run. Even at the last moment, Longao didn't want to enter the dragon seal space because he didn't want the marvelous mathematician to know. The reincarnation sword in his hand continuously slashed out reincarnation sword chi. Longao used the last of his strength to set up a reincarnation sword chi shield around his body. It could be considered as temporarily blocking the attacks of the 7 spiders. "Brother Long, my sister and I will help you." "No." Without even thinking about it, Longao directly refused. If it were a grade 1 starry sky cultivator or a grade 2 starry sky cultivator, he would have been able to fight them, even with the help of Xiling and by Ling's strength. However, The current situation was obviously different. The other party had a level 3 cosmic mythological beast. What would he do if something happened to Xiling and Bai Ling? Brother Longao didn't answer. Instead, he asked Long Fu to cut off the connection between him and Bai Ling. He had to bear all the consequences. Before Longao and Long Fu could finish speaking, the surrounding spiderwebs had already begun to erode the reincarnation sword chi barrier. Not only that, the countless spiderwebs had already interfered with the spatial fluctuations. If that was the case, it would be impossible for Longao to enter the dragon seal space. The situation was critical. It could be said to be a moment of life and death. Of course, Longao wouldn't sit still and wait for death. He definitely wouldn't choose to give up until the very last moment. Brat, I'm going to tear you into pieces and avenge my sister. Trash, you think you can do that? Hearing this, Feng Zhong's anger exploded, and the strength of his attack instantly skyrocketed. Whoosh, whoosh. 2 black shadows flashed past. Feng Zhong's expression changed greatly, because he knew very well who the figures that came out of the barrier were. There was no doubt that they were his 2 sisters' corpses. One in each hand, looking at his 2 sisters who had already turned into corpses, Feng Zhong's body even began to tremble. Early in the vast starry sky, the 8 siblings had always been together, and their relationship was extremely deep. 5th sister, 6th sister. The remaining 6 girls were also extremely sad and indignant. If they had known this would happen, they wouldn't have stopped the other party. Not only did they not obtain the treasure, but they also failed to kill the other party. Instead, they lost their 2 sisters. They went for wool and came home shorn. Ah! They roared towards the sky. Don't shout outside. If you have the ability, kill me and avenge your sisters. Longao had been provoking them all this time. He was waiting for the 7 people's state of mind to be disturbed, and then he could take the opportunity to leave. If he were to fight them head-on, there was no doubt that he would not be a match for the 7 of them. Big brother, what are you doing? If I don't kill this person today, I swear I won't rest. The 6 of you guard this place for me. Remember, if anyone lets this person go, we will no longer be brothers and sisters. The 6 of them could only nod their heads obediently, each of them guarding a position. In this way, even if Longao had 3 heads and 6 arms, he would not be able to leave this place. Feng Zhong's body disappeared, and he returned to his human form. Without any hesitation, he began to attack the reincarnation aura barrier. Taking advantage of the fact that it was about to break, he flashed into the barrier. What a shock! Longao had never thought that the other party could ignore his reincarnation sword aura barrier. He was indeed a level 3 space heavenly beast. With his strength, his reincarnation sword aura was useless. Even the ice and fire 9-layered cauldron would not have any effect. In this case, he could only choose to fight head-on. Boom! 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 Using the destruction palms, Longao and Feng Zhong clashed continuously. The difference in cultivation state meant that Longao did not have the upper hand at all. After tens of palms, Longao was severely injured. If this were to continue, there would only be one result, and that was death. Feng Zhong was obviously in a killing frenzy. He kept attacking crazily. In this way, in just a few seconds, Longao was already seriously injured. The last palm was attacked, and his whole body flew out like a kite with a broken string. He fell to the ground fiercely. Everyone, attack! Seeing that Longao was severely injured by their big brother, the remaining 6 girls could not let go of this rare opportunity. They joined forces and attacked fiercely. Longao was not a match for the 7 of them to begin with. Now that he was severely injured, how could he be a match for the 6 of them? You punch, I punch. Longao did not know how many times he had been attacked. He was in a semi-conscious state, and his organs were barely holding up. 5th sister, 6th sister, big brother has avenged you. With a loud boom, Feng Zhong used all his strength to land a palm strike on Longao's body. This palm strike was the full power of a level 3 space heavenly beast. One could imagine how strong it was. Longao was killed instantly. He was no longer breathing. As if he was still unwilling to give up, just as Feng Zhong was about to continue attacking Longao, a dragon's roar rang out. Then, a tiger's roar rang out as well. Under the 7 people's shocked gazes, a huge black dragon and a huge black tiger suddenly appeared. Chapter 1861. Starry Sky Divine Beasts. Feng Zhong and the others never expected that 2 starry sky divine beasts would appear. A dragon and a tiger, the roar of the dragon and the roar of the tiger. The dragon and the tiger that had just appeared were none other than Long Ming and Long Qiong. The 2 little guys were not reckless. They knew their strength very well and knew that they were no match for the 7 of them. Once they got entangled, not only would they not be able to save their big brother, but they would also lose their lives. The dragon and the tiger were too fast. Before Feng Zhong and the others could react, the dragon and the tiger had already fled with Longao's body. In the blink of an eye, they had disappeared without a trace. Big brother, let's go after them. Waving his hand, Feng Zhong stopped his 6 sisters. Big brother. The 6 of them did not know what their big brother meant. Were they going to let this bastard go just like that? Big brother, this man killed 5th and 6th sister. If we let him go like this, how can we face our dead parents and our 2 dead sisters? The 6 of them were very excited. This was enough to show how close the 8 of them were. They sneered. Feng Zhong said confidently, 6 sisters, don't be impatient. This man must have fallen. Even if the Starry Sky Domain Emperor comes in person, he may not be able to save him. Without giving the 6 of them any chance to speak, Feng Zhong continued, 5th and 6th sisters' primordial spirits have been destroyed. Our top priority is to find a way to reassemble the primordial spirits of the 2 sisters. Reassemble primordial spirits? Was it possible? As everyone knew, whether it was a Starry Sky Cultivator or a Starry Sky Divine Beast, as long as their primordial spirit was destroyed, it meant that they had completely fallen. They had never heard of the possibility of reassembling primordial spirits. Was their big brother joking? Everyone looked at the expression on their big brother's face and knew very well that he would never say so without full confidence. Their faces suddenly lit up. Big brother, what are you going to do? Come with me. Feng Zhong thought that Longao must be dead, so he did not chase after him. No matter who it was, if they suffered such a powerful attack, they would definitely die. Not to mention a 1st-grade Starry Sky Cultivator, even a 3rd-grade Starry Sky Cultivator would not have the slightest chance of survival. Only Longao. 1 man and 1 dragon quickly went and found an extremely secluded place to stop. Big brother, are you okay? It's definitely nothing. Don't talk nonsense. Long Qiong and Longao looked at Longao nervously. At this moment, Longao was no longer breathing. The facts proved that Longao had indeed died. Was Big Brother really dead? Impossible, this was completely impossible. Be it Long Qiong or Long Ming, neither of them were willing to believe that Longao had perished. However, they had no way of saving him under such circumstances. In the dragon seal space, Longao's aura has disappeared. Could it be that he has fallen? Impossible, this is impossible. Bai Ling was a little out of control. She started to roar madly, but Xiling held onto her tightly. Big sister, please let me go. I want to go out, I want to go out. Long Fu, can we get out? She shook her head. Long Fu sighed deeply and said helplessly, if we were outside, we could go in and out at will. However, we are in the Starry Sky Secret Realm. Once the 3 of us show up, we will definitely be sensed by the clairvoyant. The consequences will be unimaginable. Are we just going to watch Longao die like this? Xiling could not believe that Longao would die so easily. Something was not right. Miss Xiling, Miss Bai Ling, Master should still have a chance to live. However, whether he lives or dies depends on his luck. What do you think? Hearing Long Fu's words, Xiling and Bai Ling's faces lit up. 9-cycle reincarnation technique. When they heard the words 9-cycle reincarnation technique, they looked at each other in shock. Without replying, Xiling pulled Bai Ling aside and said, Bai Ling, I believe you know what the 9-cycle reincarnation technique means. If I'm not mistaken, Longao should be the reincarnation of that person. Big sister, no matter who he is, I'm already his woman. If he doesn't leave me, I'll be with him in life and death. Bai Ling's attitude was very clear. Even if Xiling wanted to say something, she could only sigh deeply. Things had already come to this, could she still stop them? The two of them returned. Xiling asked seriously, Long Fu, let me ask you. Is Longao the reincarnation of that person? This. Long Fu looked like he wanted to say something but stopped. He did not want to say more. However, would Xiling give up just like that? The answer was definitely no. Long Fu, I believe you already know Bai Ling's and my identity. If that's the case, do you still think there's a need to hide it from us? Not to mention Longao, even your old master, or that person, would not dare to provoke us. Long Fu's expression changed again because he knew very well that Xiling was right. He already knew the true identity of the two Jianling. In his shock, he did not tell Longao. It was a kind of tacit understanding. Xiling and Bai Ling did not reveal Long Fu's secret. Long Fu also did not reveal Xiling and Bai Ling's secret. If Longao knew about this, who knew what Longao would think? Since Miss Xiling has already guessed it, there's no need to ask. I just want to say that since Master has already been reincarnated, then the matter of the 100 lives is over. Is that really so? Xiling laughed coldly and said, I hope you're telling the truth. If that person dares to devour Longao, then don't blame us for not showing mercy. In the vast universe, the ruler is at the top. I hope that person knows what he's doing. The two of you, long time no see. How have you been? When they heard the sudden voice, Xiling and Bai Ling were not surprised at all. Their bodies disappeared instantly and appeared in a huge space. It was the space of the wordless book. It really is you. Looking at the black-clothed youth who looked exactly the same as Longao, Xiling and Bai Ling's expressions were extremely solemn. The two of them had never thought that this person was actually still alive. If this matter were to spread to the vast starry sky, they were afraid that the entire starry sky would be shaken. When they thought of the bloody storm that this person had set off in the vast starry sky countless years ago, the two of them felt a deep sense of helplessness. I believe you heard what I said. Even if Longao is your reincarnation of the 100 lives, I hope you don't devour him. Otherwise, with my sister and I at our peak strength, killing you is not impossible. I hope you know what you're doing. Ha ha ha, ha 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 ha. The black-clothed young man laughed crazily, as if he did not care about the two of them at all. He laughed coldly and said, just the two of you? Even at your peak, you were no match for me. What right do you have to talk to me like that? Chapter 1862. Xiling and Bai Ling's faces darkened. All of a sudden. Xiling sneered. Xiling, what are you laughing at? You and I have the same goal. If we recover our peak strength, even if we can't kill you, we can still die together. What do you think? The young man in black, who was still laughing maniacally, stopped when he heard Xiling's words. Are you threatening me? Yes, I'm threatening you. What can you do about it? Xiling completely ignored the angry face of the black-robed youth as she spoke in a disapproving manner. You and I are the same. If you don't touch my people, we can coexist peacefully. If you insist on doing so, don't blame us for turning hostile. It was funny. Xiling, Longao is my reincarnation. It seems that this has nothing to do with you. Is it? On the other side, Bai Ling, who had been silent all this time, suddenly said, Longao is my husband. This sentence was better than 1,000 words. Okay, I can promise you that I won't devour Longao. I'll just borrow Longao's power to be reborn in the future. After receiving the young man's promise, both Xiling and Bai Ling breathed a sigh of relief. They knew very well that if the young man in black insisted on devouring Longao, even they couldn't stop him. When the time came, they could only rely on Longao's own efforts. Could Longao resist the devouring of the original body? Xiling, we've been searching for 100 million years, but we haven't found it yet. I'm afraid the others haven't found it either. If this continues, The young man in black didn't continue speaking. However, Xiling and Bai Ling knew what he meant. We've already agreed that whoever finds it will get a great opportunity. The fated ones can find it, but the others may not. Have you never thought about it? The young man in black didn't believe him. I don't want to talk about this anymore. As I said before, if you want to obtain the opportunity, you have to rely on your own abilities. Xiling and Bai Ling didn't want to continue the conversation, so they turned around and left. Inside the wordless heavenly book. Looking at the two figures gradually disappearing, the corner of the black-clothed youth's mouth curled into a meaningful sneer. I destroyed my true body and sent my primordial spirit into the cycle of reincarnation in order to obtain a great opportunity. No one can snatch it from me. Outside the dragon seal space. Longao was still not breathing. It was as if he had fallen. The dragon and tiger at the side were anxious, but there was nothing they could do. Big brother, wake up. Longao's dantian, which had originally been devoid of any aura, suddenly began to stir. Wisps of black air appeared and instantly covered his entire body. 9-cycle reincarnation technique. As long as Longao's primordial spirit was not destroyed and his original body was not destroyed, then the 9 cycles reincarnation technique would automatically circulate. It was precisely because he had experienced life and death that he had continuously broken through to the 4th cycle. 1 cycle of reincarnation, not entering the yellow springs. 2nd cycle of reincarnation, spatial teleportation. 3rd cycle of reincarnation, reincarnation doppelganger. 4th cycle of reincarnation, reincarnation heavenly eye. All along, Longao had been looking forward to the 5th cycle of reincarnation. That was because the spatial teleportation, reincarnation doppelganger, and reincarnation heavenly eye were all supreme mystiques. He had relied on these mystiques to survive until today. If the first 4 cycles were already so terrifying, it was hard to imagine how monstrous the 5th cycle would be. However, Longao already understood one thing. If he wanted to break through the 9-cycle reincarnation technique, he would have to experience life and death. Otherwise, it would be impossible to break through the 9-cycle reincarnation technique by relying on his own hard work. Only a fool would go through life and death. Longao would rather not break through the 9-cycle reincarnation technique than take the risk. That was because no one knew if he would die after experiencing life and death. If he didn't break through and died instead, who would he go to then? Trying to steal a chicken only to end up losing the rice used to lure it, Longao was absolutely unwilling to touch it. Black chi had already filled every part of his body. Longao let out a muffled groan. Seeing this situation, whether it was Long Ming or Long Chong, both of them were overjoyed to see that their big brother was still alive. Both of them knew very well that their big brother's situation was a bit special. Under such circumstances, they must not touch their big brother's body casually. Just like that. Long Ming and Long Chong guarded Longao's left and right sides. Although they couldn't help, they could guard their big brother. What if those people came again? Longao had already regained consciousness. Even at this moment, he was still scared. If the 2 little guys hadn't appeared in time to take him away, the consequences would have been unimaginable. If his original body was destroyed and his primordial spirit disappeared, even the 9-cycle reincarnation technique would not have the slightest effect. The starry sky power in his body multiplied faster and faster. In just a short while, Longao's cultivation had already stepped into the peak of Grade 1 starry sky cultivator. With just one more step, he could officially break through to Grade 2 starry sky cultivator. The starry sky power continued to multiply faster and faster, just like a tornado. About half an hour later, Longao's cultivation broke through again, from Grade 1 Starry Sky Cultivator to Grade 2 Starry Sky Cultivator. Grade 2 Starry Sky Cultivator. Longao also looked a little absent-minded. He never thought that in less than 4 months, his cultivation would break through again and directly become a Grade 2 Starry Sky Cultivator. How long had it been since he entered the Starry Sky Secret Realm? Before entering the Starry Sky Secret Realm, his cultivation had just reached the Heavenly Cycle multiplication stage. But in the blink of an eye, not only did he become a starry sky cultivator, he even broke through to grade 2 starry sky cultivator. But even so, Longao still could not move at all. That was because the injuries he suffered this time were too serious. However, at this time, Longao did not have the slightest fear. With the help of the 9-cycle reincarnation technique, as long as he had 3 days, the black chi flow would completely heal his body. At this time, there was only one thing he was most worried about. That was, Feng Zhong's group of 7 would suddenly arrive. If that were the case, the strength of the 2 little guys alone would not be enough to stop the 7 of them. 3 days, as long as the 2 could hold on for 3 days and wait for his injuries to completely heal, then he could break through to grade 2 starry sky cultivator and kill the remaining 6 people. As for whether Feng Zhong could defeat or even kill him, without a real fight, even Longao was not sure. Although Longao could not move, he told his worries to Long Ming and Long Qiong through spiritual consciousness transmission. Long Ming and Long Qiong were pleasantly surprised, but the 2 also knew the seriousness of the matter. They looked around more vigilantly because as long as they could hold on for 3 days, their big brother would completely recover. In this way, the 2 little guys guarded Longao, while Longao himself tried his best to recover from his injuries, hoping to recover within 3 days. Chapter 1863. 3 days passed in a blink of an eye. Big brother, are you okay? Shaking his head. Longao breathed a long sigh of relief, his face full of surprise. His injuries had been completely healed, and his cultivation base had smoothly broken through to the 2nd level of Starry Sky Cultivator. The 2 little guys returned to Longao's left and right arms. He couldn't wait. Although he narrowly escaped death this time, his 9-cycle reincarnation technique had finally broken through to the 5th cycle. The first 4 cycles, the first cycle of reincarnation, did not enter the yellow spring. The 2nd cycle of reincarnation, space teleportation. The 3rd cycle of reincarnation, reincarnation clone. The 4th cycle of reincarnation, reincarnation heavenly eye. As for what the 5th cycle would be, Longao was also looking forward to it. If it could have the power of the first 4 cycles, then it would be a blessing in disguise. Under sensing, Longao was completely stunned, and in an instant, his face was full of surprise. Big brother Long, are you okay? I'm fine. For Xiling and Bai Ling, Longao did not hide anything from them and roughly told them what happened in the past 3 days. Longao, are you going to take revenge? Xiling knew Longao very well. He was almost killed by Feng Zhong's group of 7. How could Longao just let it go? If he left like this, then he would not be Longao. If I don't take revenge, I'm not a man. Big brother Long, the other party is a 3rd-level Starry Sky Cultivator. How could Longao not know about Bai Ling's worries? Longao said with a smile, don't worry, my cultivation base has smoothly broken through to the 2nd level of Starry Sky Cultivator. Even Feng Zhong would not be able to kill me easily. Longao was full of confidence. His cultivation base had smoothly broken through to the 2nd level of Starry Sky Cultivator. Even if he was not Feng Zhong's opponent, he could still rely on space teleportation to leave and stay as he wished. Who could stop him? Bai Ling seemed to want to say something, but in the end, she swallowed it. She knew Big Brother Long's character very well. Once he decided on something, he would not change it. That was it. Not only did Longao not leave, but he also went back the way he came, preparing to take revenge. Inside the huge cave, Sai, 5th sister and 6th sister's primordial spirits can't be reunited. I still underestimated the other party's destruction. Feng Zhong, who was originally full of confidence, did not succeed in reuniting 5th sister and 6th sister's primordial spirits. One could imagine the anger in his heart. However, the other party was already dead. No matter how angry he was, what could he do? Big brother. He waved his hand. Suppressing the anger in his heart, Feng Zhong said, 5th sister and 6th sister have been avenged. Since we can't reassemble our primordial spirits, we should bury the 2 sisters as soon as possible. Next, Feng Zhong, get out here. Before Feng Zhong could finish speaking, Longao's voice came from outside the cave. Not dead. In the beginning, Feng Zhong thought that his ears were failing him. However, Longao's voice rang out again. Feng Zhong and the others' expressions changed drastically. Disbelief filled their faces because none of them were willing to believe that Longao was still alive. Big brother. Let's go. Feng Zhong led the 6 people out of the cave. Looking at the young man in front of them, the 7 people still found it hard to believe. Feng Zhong was very confident in his strength. Not to mention a grade 1 starry sky cultivator, even a grade 4 starry sky cultivator would not have survived. Did the other party have an immortal body? Impossible, this was simply impossible. You're still alive. Your cultivation? Sensing it, they found that not only was the other party not dead, but his cultivation had also broken through from grade 1 starry sky cultivator to grade 2 starry sky cultivator. How did he do it? Until now, Feng Zhong and the others still could not figure it out. Yes, my cultivation has already reached grade 2 starry sky cultivator. I also want to thank you. I can have my current strength thanks to you. However, I will definitely take revenge for this. However, I can give you a chance. As long as you kill yourself here, I will leave your corpse intact. With just you. Ha ha ha, ha 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 ha. Feng Zhong laughed crazily. His laughter was filled with endless contempt and contempt. Because in Feng Zhong's view, even if the other party's cultivation had broken through to grade 2 starry sky cultivator, he was still trash to him. If the other party had broken through to grade 3 starry sky cultivator, maybe he would be afraid. However, he was just a grade 2 starry sky cultivator. How could he compete with him? The difference between the 2 realms was too big. They were not even on the same level. You don't dare. Yes, I don't dare. I'm scared. The next second, Feng Zhong's figure had already rushed out. Both his fists fiercely punched out. Before the person arrived, the fist shadows had already arrived. The terrifying fist shadows covered the sky. With spatial teleportation, Longao's body disappeared in an instant. Feng Zhong directly punched the air. The difference between realms was indeed difficult to make up for. However, Longao's cultivation had already smoothly broken through to grade 2 starry sky cultivator, and was only 1 level away from Feng Zhong. Perhaps his strength was not as good as Feng Zhong, but in terms of speed, Feng Zhong was definitely not as good as Longao. Speed was the pinnacle. Apart from temporal teleportation, spatial teleportation was the true pinnacle of speed. It seemed that he did not expect the other party's speed to increase again. Feng Zhong felt extremely depressed. If this continued, how could he kill the other party? 6 sisters, go. If one person could not kill the other party, then the 7 of them would join forces. Feng Zhong had full confidence that once the 7 siblings joined forces, even if the other party's speed was fast, he would not be able to stop them. The 6 beautiful girls also knew what was going on and attacked Longao frantically. The 7 starry sky spiders simultaneously revealed their true forms, and countless spider webs began to crazily shoot out. This move again. With such a dense spider web attack, as Feng Zhong had guessed, even if Longao's speed was fast, he would not be able to avoid such a dense attack. In the end, only death awaited him. In fact, Feng Zhong's group of 7 had a question in their hearts. Since the other party did not die, why did he come back? Was the other party really so confident that he could kill the 7 of them? His strength was obviously not enough. If that was the case, why was the other party so confident? Did he have something to rely on? Or did the other party rely on his speed? If that was the case, then the other party simply did not know the immensity of heaven and earth. One mistake, it was impossible to make 2 mistakes. Feng Zhong told himself that the murderer of his 2 sisters must die. If he could not kill the other party this time, then he should just kill himself. There was only one way to completely destroy the other party, and that was to destroy both the original body and the Yuan spirit. In that case, even if the other party was a starry sky domain emperor, he would not have a chance to be reborn. Although he still did not know how the other party did it, things had already come to this, and Feng Zhong did not want to know. He only knew one thing, and that was to kill the other party no matter what. P.S. The 8th chapter has been delivered. There are still 2 chapters to go. Little 9 will take a short break and immediately start writing. I hope that brothers who have votes can vote for Longao. Little 9 thanks. Chapter 1864. When the 7 of them joined forces, their power was not to be underestimated. The attacks were too dense. It was difficult to deal with the joint force of the 7 people by relying on spatial teleportation alone. Primordial spirit attack. However, with the previous lesson, Longao knew very well that the other party must be prepared. It would be a bit difficult to continue to rely on primordial spirit attack to defeat the other party. However, Longao had already thought of a countermeasure, that was, the reincarnation heavenly eye. On Longao's forehead, a third eye slowly appeared, and a black light came out. What is this thing? The 7 people were taken aback. Before the 7 of them could react, Longao's attack came. Looking for an opportunity. Ah! With a scream, a beautiful girl fell down, her primordial spirit severely injured. Before the others had time to save her, Longao had already arrived in front of her with spatial teleportation. Don't kill me, please, don't kill me. In the face of death, dignity and arrogance were rubbish. You. Without waiting for Feng Zhong to continue saying the word dare, the reincarnation sword in Longao's hand had already fiercely slashed out. Without a doubt, with Longao's strength, how could the young girl whose primordial spirit was severely injured withstand it? The girl was directly split into 2 by the reincarnation sword chi. I'm going to kill you. Looking at his sister being killed under his nose, Feng Zhong was furious to the extreme. However, the other party was too fast and did not want to fight him head-on. Boy, if you are a man, stop and fight with me. Moron. He did not know if the other party's brain had been flooded with water, but he actually asked him to stop and fight. What a joke. All of a sudden, Longao suddenly stopped. You want to have a fair fight with me? Looking at the other party's indifferent face, for some reason, Feng Zhong had a bad feeling. The calmer Longao was, the more unsure he was. What was he afraid of? Even if the other party's cultivation had broken through to the 2nd level of Starry Sky Cultivator, he still could not be his opponent. Ha ha ha, boy, as long as you can defeat me, I will let you go, how about it? No problem. Feng Zhong obviously didn't want to waste any more time. When he thought about how the other party had killed his 3 sisters, Feng Zhong was like a volcano that was about to erupt, ready to erupt at any moment. Longao did not move. What was the other party trying to do? Feng Zhong was getting closer and closer to Longao, but Longao still didn't move. Feng Zhong didn't know what was going on, but since things had come to this point, he could only force his way through. Feng Zhong was less than 3 meters away from Longao. Longao, who had been motionless all this time, suddenly raised his right hand and made a light stroke. What did that mean? The other party didn't make a move, nor did he move. He just suddenly stretched out his hand and made a light stroke, causing Feng Zhong to feel extremely depressed. Feng Zhong stopped abruptly because he didn't know the situation and didn't want to take the risk. What if the other party really had something to rely on? In any case, the other party was already in his hands. Feng Zhong stopped because he wanted to see what kind of trick Longao was playing. From the beginning to the end, he never thought that a light stroke from Longao would be so powerful. And the result? Longao made a light stroke and a horrifying scene appeared. The space on Feng Zhong's left was gently drawn and a space crack appeared. Yes, it was a space crack. Huh! Seeing this, Feng Zhong was completely stunned because if it was just a simple space crack, with his strength, he could simply ignore it because any Starry Sky cultivator could ignore space cracks. But at this moment, the space crack that Longao drew obviously shattered the starry sky. In other words, what Longao drew was not a space crack, but a space crack. What did this mean? A space crack was above a space crack. Even a Starry Sky cultivator, even a Starry Sky domain lord, wouldn't dare to touch a space crack. Otherwise, once touched, they would be instantly swallowed and the consequences would be unimaginable. How did the other party do it? Feng Zhong finally understood why the other party dared to come back for revenge. It turned out that he had such a powerful ability. Although his cultivation was far above Longao's, the other party could open a space crack. Who would dare to provoke him based on this point alone? Although Longao's realm wasn't high, his long-range attack was definitely the most powerful. Even Feng Zhong, a level 3 starry sky cultivator, didn't dare to take another step forward because if Longao's speed was any faster, wouldn't he be directly swallowed by the space crack? In fact, Feng Zhong thought too much. Although Longao could shatter a space crack, with his current strength, it was impossible for him to continuously shatter the starry sky. If so, Longao could become invincible. Who could be a match for Longao in the vast starry sky? Even so, it was already terrifying. After all, even a starry sky domain lord couldn't break a space crack in the vast starry sky. This was why Feng Zhong was shocked. Why don't you dare to make a move? Looking at the other party's contemptuous face, Feng Zhong was depressed to the extreme because he never thought that the other party could shatter the starry sky. In this case, even if he had 3 heads and 6 arms, he couldn't be the other party's opponent. Feng Zhong didn't dare to try. What if he made a mistake? Feng Zhong didn't want to die. Not to mention making a move, he didn't even dare to take a step forward. His face was extremely gloomy and ugly because he was scared by a level 2 starry sky cultivator. He was the first person in history to be scared to this extent. However, he couldn't help it. Who told him to meet a freak? Boy, you can go now. Although he didn't want to admit it, Feng Zhong knew very well that the other party could shatter the starry sky. This alone meant that he couldn't kill the other party. Not only that, he might even be killed by the other party. Instead of dying in vain, it was better to let go early. As for the hatred of his 3 sisters, it wouldn't be too late to avenge them in the future. He sighed deeply. Why should I go? You. Longao smiled and said with a sneer, I just said that I came here to take revenge. I almost died in your hands before. This time, I will take it back with interest. Do you want to commit suicide? Or do you want me to do it? Humiliation. It was a blatant humiliation. The 6 beautiful girls did not dare to speak, because they had seen Longao tear through the cracks in the starry sky. It was too shocking. If they had not seen it with their own eyes, they would not have believed it. A puny grade 2 starry sky cultivator could actually tear through the starry sky and break the cracks in the starry sky so easily. Was this true? It was unbelievable and unimaginable. P.S. Chapter 9 has been delivered. The last chapter will be delivered later. Chapter 1865. Suicide. Clenching his fists tightly, Feng Zhong's expression turned ugly. He had never been so humiliated in a long time. Boy, are you really going to kill me? In the end, Feng Zhong was still scared. Longao sneered and said, since you don't want to kill yourself, I'll help you. He waved his right hand, and a crack appeared on Feng Zhong's left in the blink of an eye. Shocked, Feng Zhong was so terrified that he didn't dare to continue fighting. When Longao was about to attack, Longao, stop. Right at that moment, Master Godly Mathematician suddenly appeared and looked at Longao coldly. At this moment, Longao could clearly sense an invisible killing intent emanating from the God Diviner. Master Godly Mathematician, save us. Longao didn't say anything. Since Master Godly Mathematician had already intervened, he would be disrespecting him if he continued to attack. Longao was self-aware. With his strength, he was nothing in front of the Divine Mathematician. Not to mention attacking, even the Divine Mathematician could easily kill him with a flick of his finger. Go to hell. Without giving Feng Zhong any chance to speak, Master Godly Mathematician's voice had barely faded when Feng Zhong and the other 4 disappeared. They didn't even have time to make a sound. Longao, the test is over. You've successfully passed the 3rd space. There was no surprise, because Longao knew that he had been too careless. The fact that he could break the cosmos had been exposed. It was just as Longao had speculated. Under normal circumstances, the test in the 3rd space wasn't over at all. They were only halfway through. The main reason why Master Godly Mathematician had ended the test early was because Longao could break the cosmos. Master Godly Mathematician knew that Longao had a 100% chance of passing the test with that move. Follow me. Longao followed Master Godly Mathematician and disappeared on the spot. In the Crystal Palace on the outer sea, it was a familiar place. Longao already knew that he had successfully left the Star Secret Realm. Longao, how did you shatter the starry sky? Of course, Longao wouldn't tell the truth. To tell you the truth, exalted Master God Diviner, I was killed by Feng Zhong, but for some reason, I didn't perish. By the time I woke up, I already had the divine ability to shatter the starry sky. There was not the slightest doubt. Master God Diviner bowed his head thoughtfully, almost as if he were trying to figure out how Longao had escaped death, and how he had the ability to shatter the starry sky. Longao, according to the rules, you didn't pass the tertiary space. Hearing the divine mathematician's words, Longao finally let out a sigh of relief in his heart. After all, he was well aware that Master God Diviner believed him. As for why he hadn't done anything, only Master God Diviner himself knew the answer. I know. However, I have already said that you have successfully passed, so you have already passed. However, you must stay here and cultivate. After 8 months, all of you will be teleported out. I am not breaking the rules. That explains a lot. Longao had already understood what Master God Diviner meant. It wasn't a bad thing for him. As for the reward, I've already thought about it. When the catastrophe comes, as long as you can deal with it, I can promise you that you can enter the 4th space. If you perform well, you can even go to the spaces beyond. Thank you, Senior. Longao looked very calm, and did not have much surprise. There was no telling what the Heavenly Path and Long Batian would think if they knew about it. Both the Heavenly Path and Long Batian had wanted to enter the spaces beyond the 4th space for the past 10,000 years, but they couldn't step into the Star Realm without Master God Diviner's permission. That was it. Longao was arranged to cultivate in a place within the Crystal Palace and began 8 months of cultivation. Shatter the starry sky? How can Longao be strong enough to shatter the starry sky? Master God Diviner seemed to have thought of something. However, Master God Diviner simply shook his head with a smile. There was no telling what his expression meant. He sat on the ground. Although he had successfully become a level 2 star state cultivator, it wasn't stable yet. According to Long Fu's plan, he would have to wait for a year at the very least to make the breakthrough. However, it turned out that he had directly become a level 2 star state cultivator from a level 1 star state cultivator in a little more than 3 months. If Longao had been given the choice, he definitely wouldn't have chosen to make the breakthrough. However, since he had already made the breakthrough, he had to accept it. However, Longao had already made up his mind that he wouldn't make the breakthrough before the catastrophe, even if he was passive. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable if the backlash came. Master, you can definitely stabilize your state during these 8 months. Master God Diviner is quite nice to you. This place is very suitable for your cultivation. When you return to the Dragon Valley, you can try to make the breakthrough and become a level 3 star state cultivator before the catastrophe comes. Long Fu was pleasantly surprised to hear Longao's telepathic message. He had thought that it would take him 2 years to stabilize his state, but it turned out that it would only take him 8 months. To him, this was undoubtedly the best news. Longao, you'd better be careful. You're really reckless this time. Since Master God Diviner already knows that you can break through the starry sky, I'm afraid you'll be in big trouble in the future. Regarding the meaning of what Purple Spirit said, how could Longao not know? Things have already come to this, and I can't do anything about it. However, Master God Diviner shouldn't deal with me for the time being. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. Even so, you still have to be careful of Master God Diviner. I always feel that Master God Diviner is up to no good. It's only a matter of time before he takes action. Once the catastrophe is over, I'm afraid, although Xiling didn't finish his words, the meaning of his words was very clear. Longao's face also became a little dignified, because Xiling's words weren't unreasonable. Master God Diviner was indeed a little troublesome. With such a powerful strength, how could he deal with him if he wanted to deal with him? He simply couldn't deal with it. Very helpless, Longao knew very well that it was useless to continue to dwell on this problem. The only way was to improve his strength as fast as possible, as much as possible. Only when he was strong enough could he be guaranteed. Otherwise, everything was out of the question. Not continuing to dwell on it, Longao closed his eyes and began to cultivate quietly. He wanted to completely stabilize his state within 8 months. Only then would he have the opportunity to break through to the level 3 star state cultivator realm. P.S. All 10 chapters have been delivered. It's 3 o'clock. Xiao Ju is going to bed. Good night, everyone. Chapter 1866. 9 Provinces Continent. Currently, the Dragon Valley remained as calm as still water. Even if Longhao's cultivation had broken through to the Starry Sky cultivator realm, he still did not make any moves. It wasn't just Longhao. Even Long Ying had also broken through to become a Starry Sky cultivator. In other words, the Dragon Valley now had 2 Starry Sky cultivators. If the Dragon Valley wanted to rise, it could do so in a matter of minutes. Not to mention the current 10-directional cauldron, even the previous 10-directional cauldron could not resist the attacks of 2 Starry Sky cultivators. Under the Starry Sky, all were ants. 8 months later. It wasn't just Longao. Purple Thunder Patriarch, Myriad Beasts Patriarch, and the others were also teleported out of the Star Secret Realm. Of the 19 people who entered the Secret Realm of Stars, other than the few who died, everyone was teleported out. Not only that, even Shu Renfeng managed to come out alive. Be it Shu Renfeng or Lin Junhong, both of them were very smart. They did not continue to move forward. Instead, they chose to stay where they were and cultivate. Not only did he successfully break through to the Starry Sky cultivator realm, but he also ended up teleported out. The fact that everyone had broken through to the Starry Sky realm was no secret. In an instant, the news had spread throughout the Tianwu continent. Everyone was shocked. As everyone's cultivation broke through to the Starry Sky cultivator realm, everyone understood that the status of the 10 Directions tripod had become more and more consolidated. In the future, no sect could threaten the status of the 10 Directions tripod. Within the Dragon Valley, only a few people knew about the news of Longao's return. Longao, who had just returned to the Dragon Valley, had already learned that his grandfather and big brother had successfully broken through to the Starry Sky realm. In that case, including himself, the Dragon Valley had a total of 3 Starry Sky realm cultivators. Even in the entire Tianwu continent, they were absolutely invincible. Strike while the iron is hot. Longao did not hesitate at all. After all, the sooner his family members devoured the Starry Sky god deity, the sooner they could become Starry Sky cultivators. Longao gave the 2 rank 5 Starry Sky godheads to his parents. As for the remaining Starry Sky godhoods, they were distributed according to the most suitable conditions. Among them, the 4 people from the Dragon Sect's branch, Yunlu Ocean, Yun Feng, Azurite, and Chief Elect, had also obtained a Cosmos godhead. The 4 of them were pleasantly surprised to the extreme. Although their master had promised the 4 of them that he would help them break through to the Starry Sky cultivator realm in the future, the 4 of them had never taken it seriously. Starry Sky cultivators discriminated against those who could break through whenever they wanted. And the result? How long had it been? The 4 of them admired him to the extreme. Aside from admiration, they became even more determined. Not only the 4 of them, everyone who obtained a Starry Sky Divine Deity was grateful to Longao, because everyone knew what a Starry Sky Divine Deity meant. After everyone obtained the Starry Sky God Deity, they immediately started refining it. At this rate, it would take at most a year, which was before the catastrophe arrived. Most likely, those who obtained the Starry Sky God Deity would be able to smoothly break through to Starry Sky Cultivator. Aoshue, Yu Yin, what are your preparations? Are you going to break through to the Starry Sky Cultivator realm on your own, or are you going to devour the Starry Sky Godhead? In Longao's heart, He still hoped that the two could rely on their own cultivation to break through to the starry sky cultivator realm. However, this was simply too difficult. If it was 10,000 years ago, it might have been possible. But now, it was almost impossible. Especially when the catastrophe was about to arrive. If Aoshue and Yu Yin still couldn't break through to the starry sky cultivator realm, the danger would most likely increase. If they devoured the starry sky god deity, then it would be relatively easier. Once they devoured the starry sky god deity, almost everyone could become a starry sky cultivator. However, there were also some who failed, and that was only a 1 in 10,000 chance. Longao would not force the two. In other words, whether the two chose to break through to the starry sky cultivator realm on their own or to devour the starry sky god deity, it was up to them. No matter what the two chose, he would support them 100%. Aoshue and Yu Yin glanced at each other and without the slightest hesitation, they said in unison, "Big Brother Long, we choose to devour the starry sky god deity." Whether it was Aoshue or Yu Yin, they had already thought it through. If they relied on their own efforts to break through to the starry sky cultivator realm, who knew when they would be able to do it? In this way, they would be further and further away from Longao. The only way was to devour the starry sky god deity and break through to the starry sky cultivator realm as soon as possible. Especially when the two women learned that Longao's cultivation had not only broken through to the starry sky cultivator realm, but also advanced to grade 2 starry sky cultivator. This kind of cultivation speed was truly inconceivable. Not for themselves, but to keep up with Longao's pace. He sighed deeply in his heart. How could Longao not understand the thoughts in Aoshue and Yu Yin's hearts? He was very touched. But still, no matter what decision the two made, he would unconditionally support them. Longao had already thought about it. Although the two chose to devour the starry sky god deity to break through to the starry sky cultivator realm, as long as he could find a higher grade starry sky god deity, it would not be a problem for the two to break through to the starry sky domain lord realm in the future. In that case, you can devour the 2 grade 4 starry sky god deities in my hands first. In the future, I will help you find a higher grade starry sky god deity. Aoshue and Yu Yin did not hesitate and immediately picked up a starry sky god deity and started devouring it. In the vast starry sky, Longao's cultivation base had smoothly broken through to the starry sky god deity realm. With his current strength, he was fully qualified to leave the martial heaven continent and enter the starry sky to see what it was like. Furthermore, it would be much easier for him to obtain starry sky god deity. However, the god diviner had already said that no matter who it was, they were not allowed to leave the martial heaven continent. If they were discovered, they would be killed without question. No one doubted the god diviner's words, nor did they doubt the god diviner's power. Even if they had broken through to the starry sky god deity realm, they would not be able to withstand a single blow from the god diviner. This was the deterrent power of a starry sky domain lord. Who would dare to risk leaving the martial heaven continent? Not only Longao, but the others also felt uncomfortable because they were like wild beasts trapped in a cage. It was almost impossible for them to leave. In the end, they were still chess pieces. They were not strong enough. If their cultivation base could break through to the starry sky domain lord realm, would they still be chess pieces? Power. Everything depended on power. Whether it was on the martial heaven continent or in the starry sky, if you didn't have power, you had to obediently obey. Otherwise, you would only be killed. The Dragon Valley was devouring the starry sky god deity. As for the other superpowers, those who had obtained the starry sky god deity were also creating their own starry sky god deity realm. Because of this, the martial heaven continent was very calm. There was no storm of blood, but no one dared to be careless. Chapter 1867. The catastrophe was coming. According to the divine mathematician, once the weak space was broken in a year, countless cultivators would rush into the sky martial continent. It was easy to imagine what the consequences would be. Because of this, Longao couldn't wait to increase the strength of the Dragon Valley. Once the 90 starry sky divine deities were refined, it meant that the Dragon Valley would have 90 starry sky cultivators. Outside the Dragon Valley, at the peak of the clouds in the sky, Shu Renfeng, how dare you come to me? You really don't know what's good for you. Longao wasn't surprised that Shu Renfeng and the evil-eye demon dragon didn't die. As long as the man and the dragon cultivated on the spot and didn't move forward, they could leave the Star Secret Realm smoothly. Of the 19 people who entered the Star Secret Realm, except for Tong Tiendi, the 5 Elements' old ancestor, and Sima Tu, none of them died. The 10 forces were the Long family, the Dan Guild, the Martial Artists Alliance, the WN Shou sect, the Dragon sect, the Wanzhan School, the Sword sect, the Purple Thunder sect, the Azura Palace, and the 5 Elements sect. Now that the 5 Elements' old ancestor and Sima Tu had died, it meant that the 5 Elements sect had completely disappeared and was removed from the 10 forces. Under normal circumstances, a second-rate force would definitely have a chance to enter the 10 forces, but what happened? The Heaven and Earth sect, which was destroyed, suddenly rose again and became stronger. With the destruction of the 5 Elements sect, the Heaven and Earth sect directly took over the 5 Elements sect and entered the 10 forces. Along with the fall of the 5 Elements Patriarch and Sima Tu, the 5 Elements sect automatically disbanded because everyone was very clear that if they didn't disband, once they were besieged by other sects, they would probably disappear from the world along with the sect. Now the new 10 forces were the Long family, the Dan Guild, the Martial Artists Alliance, the WN Shou sect, the Dragon sect, the Wanzhan School, the Sword sect, the Purple Thunder sect, the Azura Palace, and the Heaven and Earth sect. Longao, you owe me, shouldn't you pay me back? With his cultivation smoothly breaking through to grade 2 Starry Sky Cultivator, and with the help of the evil-eyed demonic dragon, Shu Renfeng naturally wanted to take revenge on Longao. Starry Sky Undead. He was neither human nor ghost. It was all because of the other party that he had fallen to such a state. How could he not take revenge? Then what do you want? It's simple. I want you dead. He shrugged helplessly. He had seen people who were not afraid of death, but he had never seen such a fearless person. You! Hearing Longao's words, Shu Renfeng and the evil-eye demon dragon suddenly laughed maniacally. Their laughter was filled with disdain and contempt. But in the next second, Longao's body suddenly erupted with a terrifying starry sky force. Sensing it, the expressions of the man and the dragon changed. Grade 2 Starry Sky Cultivator. Shu Renfeng never expected that the other party would not only break through to the Starry Sky Cultivator realm, but also reach Grade 2 Starry Sky Cultivator realm. If he had not seen it with his own eyes, he would not have believed it even if he was beaten to death. Longao, even if you become a Grade 2 Starry Sky Cultivator, you are still not enough for me. Despite his surprise, Shu Renfeng still didn't put Longao in his eyes. With the help of the evil-eye demon dragon, Shu Renfeng had full confidence that he could defeat the other party and kill him smoothly. Before Longao could speak, a dragon roar sounded instantly. Long Qiong's huge dragon body appeared. Looking at the black dragon exuding bursts of dragon might, both the evil-eye demon dragon and Shu Renfeng's expressions completely changed. Shu Renfeng, in this case, do you still have confidence? Regardless of Shu Renfeng's extremely gloomy face, a tiger roar sounded, and Long Ming's huge body also appeared. What about this? 2 Grade 2 Starry Sky God Beasts. What kind of concept was this? Shu Renfeng and the evil-eye demon dragon knew very well that in a 2 versus 3 situation, they had no chance of winning. No wonder Longao was so confident. It turned out that he had nothing to fear. Taking 3 steps back, Shu Renfeng and the evil-eye demon dragon had already thought about it. If this was the case, they might as well leave first. As the saying goes, 10 years is not too late for a gentleman to take revenge. As long as the 2 of them could continue to break through and reach the so-called Grade 3 Starry Sky Cultivator, then even if the other party had 3 people, the 2 of them would not have anything to fear. Are you afraid? Looking down on the 2, Longao said sarcastically. Shu Renfeng, the 2 of them won't make a move. Aren't you very confident? Well then, I will fight 1 against 2. I really want to see how you will kill me. Heh! The other party wants to fight the two of them alone? Is this for real? If the other party had the help of 2 Grade 2 Starry Sky Divine Beasts, Shu Renfeng knew very well that he and the Evil Eye Demon Dragon would definitely not be a match for the other party. However, if it was just Longao alone, and 1 against 2, would the two of them still need to be afraid? Ha ha ha, Shu Renfeng laughed crazily. Suddenly, his laughter stopped abruptly and he continued, "Since you want to die, then I will fulfill your wish. Big brother Evil Eye, let's join forces. I also want to see why you are so arrogant. I also want to see." The Evil Eye Demon Dragon felt very uncomfortable. He did not know why, but he always felt that something was wrong. As for what was wrong, he could not tell. However, under normal circumstances, even if the other party was strong, he was only a Grade 2 Starry Sky Cultivator. If the two of them joined forces, how could they not be a match for the other party? Big brother. Waving his hand, Longao knew very well what Long Qiong and Long Ming meant. If the two of them helped him, and the other party left without a fight, how could he eliminate the weeds and the roots? Letting the tiger return to the mountain would leave behind future troubles. Long Qiong and Long Ming returned to the left and right arms. The biggest reason why Longao summoned the 2 little guys was to deter the two of them. Because everything could go wrong. What if the man and the dragon really left? Just in case, Longao wanted to tell the two of them that the strength of the Dragon Valley was very strong. Even if they had 2 Starry Sky Cultivators, they could not touch the Dragon Valley. The Dragon Valley was his bottom line. No matter what, he could not let anything happen to the Dragon Valley. This was the deterrent effect of Longao. Kill. Seeing Longao being so arrogant, the man and the dragon directly rushed out, 1 on the left and 1 on the right. The 2 Starry Sky Cultivators directly released their Starry Sky power, ready to suppress the other party. But would this move be effective? When Longao's cultivation had not broken through to the Starry Sky Cultivator, he could use the Samsara sword in his hand to break through the Starry Sky power released by the Starry Sky Cultivators. Now, Longao's cultivation had already broken through to the Starry Sky Cultivator. Using his finger as a sword, he directly used the 5th style of Samsara, Samsara Meteorite Explosion. Sword chi came out one after another, like a meteor shower. The two of them were really shocked because of their carelessness, but until now, the two of them were still full of confidence. Even if the Starry Sky power could not suppress the other party, as long as the two of them joined forces, it should not be difficult to kill the other party. Chapter 1868. The sword chi was powerful. This was what Shu Renfeng and the Evil Eye Dragon felt. They didn't dare to be careless. A man and a dragon had formed a bloodline contract. Their combined power would definitely surpass the combined power of 2 ordinary Starry Sky Cultivators. This was without a doubt. Longao also knew very well that it would be difficult for him to defeat a man and a dragon by himself. However, he wasn't worried at all. Just as the two sides collided and retreated, Longao's right hand suddenly swiped gently at Shu Renfeng. This action was too casual, so the man and the dragon didn't care at all. But the result? In front of Shu Renfeng and the Evil Eye Dragon's shocked eyes, the space on Shu Renfeng's left was forcibly torn open. If it was an ordinary space crack, with Shu Renfeng's current Starry Sky strength, of course, he wouldn't have the slightest fear. However, whether it was Shu Renfeng or the Evil Eye Dragon, they could clearly sense that the crack Longao drew was obviously not a space crack. A space crack. Known as a Starry Sky Cultivator, no matter what kind of powerhouse, once swallowed by a space crack, they would definitely die. Completely scared. If it was a normal situation, how could Shu Renfeng be swallowed so easily? However, in this situation, Shu Renfeng was a bit dumbfounded, and his brain couldn't function well. The Evil Eye Dragon attacked. Taking Shu Renfeng away, the Evil Eye Dragon scolded fiercely, "Wake up." Suddenly waking up, thinking about what just happened, Shu Renfeng was a bit scared. If the Evil Eye Dragon didn't act in time, he would have been swallowed by the space crack. The consequences would be unimaginable. Longao, you can actually break open a space crack. Unbelievable. If they didn't see it with their own eyes, would they choose to believe it? Shu Renfeng knew very well that even a Starry Sky Domain Lord might not be able to break open a space crack. As for whether a Starry Sky Domain Lord could do it, it was still unknown. Anyway, everyone in the vast Starry Sky knew. The nemesis of Starry Sky cultivators was the space crack, which was also the most powerful attack of the Starry Sky. A Starry Sky cultivator, being able to break open a space crack was simply unheard of. Are you afraid? Fuck. A space crack, it would be strange not to be afraid. Every time Longao took a step forward, Shu Renfeng would take a step back. Longao, we will meet again in the future. I will definitely take my revenge in the future. You want to leave? Longao had already decided that no matter what price he had to pay, he had to keep one person and one dragon. Otherwise, there would be endless trouble in the future if he let the tiger return to the mountain. Long Ming and Long Qiong weren't the only ones who attacked at the same time. Even the reincarnation doppelganger moved quickly. A total of 4 Grade 2 Starry Sky cultivators. What kind of concept was that? Fighting 1 against 2, Shu Renfeng and the evil-eyed demon dragon understood that if the two of them faced 4 Grade 2 Starry Sky cultivators, they would have almost no chance of winning and would only end up dead. There was only one path to take. Under such circumstances, whether or not Shu Renfeng and the evil-eyed dragon would be able to leave was a big problem. East, south, west, and north. The roars of dragons and tigers rang out. On the other hand, Longao and his reincarnation doppelganger looked indifferent. The 4 of them attacked at the same time, and their terrifying attacks arrived almost simultaneously. The opportunity had come. If it were a Grade 3 Starry Sky cultivator or above, Longao would never use his life essence attack unless it was a last resort. However, the other party was just a Grade 2 Starry Sky cultivator. Even if his life essence attack failed, he believed that it would not backfire. Longao was very confident about this. A life essence attack was also an invisible attack. If it was just Shu Renfeng alone, then Longao's life essence attack would definitely succeed. Because the current Shu Renfeng was already terrified to the extreme, how could he guard against it? However, the bad thing was that there was still the evil-eye demon dragon beside Shu Renfeng. One must know that the evil-eye demon dragon had the evil-eye light, which was also a life essence attack. When it clashed head-on with Longao's reincarnation heavenly eye, it was only slightly weaker. This was enough to show how terrifying the evil-eye light of the evil-eye demon dragon was. There was a loud boom. The invisible attacks collided, and both Longao and the evil-eye demon dragon let out a muffled groan. Longao was also taken aback, because he did not expect that as the evil-eye demon dragon's cultivation broke through to Grade 2 Starry Sky Godbeast, the power of the evil-eye light would also increase by several times. Otherwise, this attack would have killed the evil-eye demon dragon. The result? Things had already come to this, so Longao was finally ready to use the reincarnation heavenly eye. The reincarnation heavenly eye fought against the evil-eye light, and in the end, Longao's reincarnation heavenly eye won. Relying on the strength of his whole body, Longao moved his hands together, drawing 4 left and right, a total of 8 times. Under the shocked gaze of Shu Renfeng and the evil-eye demon dragon, 8 starry sky cracks appeared around them. This was because Longao's strength was not strong enough. Otherwise, just 8 starry sky cracks would be enough to kill 1 person and 1 dragon. This was the power of the starry sky cracks. Since obtaining the ability to shatter the starry sky, Longao had been looking forward to the next 4 revolutions of the 9-cycle reincarnation sword. The 5th cycle was already so powerful, it was hard to imagine how powerful the next 4 revolutions would be. Hold on to me. Shu Renfeng had already given up fighting, and his face was full of despair. He was full of confidence, thinking that his cultivation had broken through to the Grade 2 Starry Sky cultivator, and with the help of the evil-eye demon dragon, he could smoothly kill Longao and avenge himself. However, the result was something he never expected. Longao not only became a Grade 2 Starry Sky cultivator, but also had such an abnormal ability. Not to mention himself, Even a grade 3 starry sky cultivator might not be a match for Longao. Although this guess was nonsense, Xu Renfeng still believed in it. Although Longao was only a grade 2 starry sky cultivator, his true strength was enough to compete with a grade 3 starry sky cultivator. Trying to kill such an existence was simply courting death. At this moment, Xu Renfeng regretted it to the extreme. If he had known this would happen, he would not have done it in the first place. It would have been better to go into seclusion immediately. If he could devour and refine the starry sky godhead, then killing Longao in the future would be a piece of cake. It turned out that Xu Renfeng had also obtained a powerful starry sky godhead with the help of the evil-eye demon dragon. However, he wanted to take revenge as soon as possible, so he did not have time to devour the starry sky godhead. If he died this time because of his impulsiveness, then even if he died, he would not be able to rest in peace. Xu Renfeng grabbed the evil-eye demon dragon. Because of despair, he had bet all his life on the evil-eye demon dragon, hoping that the evil-eye demon dragon could really take him away. Otherwise, the two of them would definitely die. There was no doubt about it. P.S. I don't think I said yesterday's outburst. Since everyone wants Little 9 to continue, then I will continue with 10 chapters today. This is the first chapter. I hope that brothers with votes, especially monthly votes, vote for Longao. Little 9 thanks. Chapter 1869. How could the evil-eye demon dragon leave? Longao knew very well that the evil-eye demon dragon would not do this without full confidence. He had spent so much effort. If he could not keep the man and the dragon, he might be fine, but if the Dragon Valley was implicated, it would be a sin. No matter what, he could not let the man and the dragon go. He seemed to be able to guess Longao's thoughts. The other three began to attack wildly, trying to stop the man and the dragon from leaving. Would it work? The evil-eye demon dragon must have its own unique skill to survive in the star-secret realm. Otherwise, it would have died long ago. A cloud of blood mist. The evil-eye demon dragon took Xu Renfeng and left just like that. Self-destructing origin force. Longao had already guessed the evil-eye demon dragon's method, but he could not stop it. Brother, what should we do now? Chase. It was still the same sentence. The current Longao would definitely not choose to let the man and the dragon go. Tens of thousands of meters away. Brother Evil Eye, what happened to you? Looking at the evil-eye demon dragon covered in blood, Xu Renfeng was completely stunned. The two of them really went for wool and came home shorn this time. Originally, they wanted to kill Longao, but in the end, not only did they not kill him, but they also did not know how injured the evil-eye demon dragon was and had to be chased by Longao. I'm fine. Let's leave here quickly. My blood escape has been sensed by Longao. We must leave here as soon as possible. They were extremely unlucky. Since it had been sensed, with the evil-eye demon dragon's injuries, how could it resist Longao's pursuit? Alchemy Guild. In the end, Xu Renfeng was ready to return to the Alchemy Guild. Although he chose to betray the Alchemy Guild in the Star-Secret Realm, it was also because of the situation. If he returned to the sect, would Xu Tian not accept him? Xu Renfeng had full confidence that as long as he was willing to go back, Xu Tian would be willing to accept him again. No matter what, he and the evil-eye demon dragon were two level 2-star secret realm cultivators. What did this mean? As long as Xu Tian was not senile, he would definitely not do anything stupid. Thinking of this, Xu Renfeng brought the evil-eyed demon dragon to the Alchemy Guild. The evil-eyed demon dragon ignored the worsening of its injuries and forcibly erased the traces it had left behind. This way, even Longao's senses were greatly hindered from chasing after it. Even so, Longao would not give up. Alchemy Guild. Xu Tian returned smoothly and obtained some additional starry sky divine deity. As long as he chose some reliable people to devour, then not long after, the Dan Alliance would have a few more starry sky cultivators. This was not something that Xu Tian obtained himself. As it turned out, everybody received extra rewards after passing the secondary space, which were the so-called star state divine personas, star-state weapons and star-state martial arts. Not only Shu Tian, but everyone else also had one, including Shu Renfeng. As for Longao, it looked like Longao didn't get any rewards, but the rewards that Longao received were far from what others could compare to. That was because the marvelous mathematician had promised that as long as Longao survived the catastrophe, he would be qualified to enter the star realm, the fourth or even the fifth space. What did that mean? Not even Tian Dao and Long Batian had been qualified to enter the fourth or fifth space for 10,000 years, not to mention the others. However, for Shu Tian and the others, the star-state divine personas, star-state weapons and star-state martial arts were the best rewards. The reason was simple. They didn't even dare to enter the third space of the star-secret realm, let alone the fourth or fifth space. Ancestor, save me. Shu Tian, who was resting with his eyes closed, suddenly changed his expression when he heard Shu Renfeng's words. In the next second, Shu Renfeng and the evil-eyed demon dragon appeared in front of him. Shu Renfeng said, "Ancestor, it was all my fault, but I'm still a member of the Alchemy Guild. If you don't mind, I can return to the guild." Shu Tian's expression changed again. As Shu Renfeng said, he had become a level 2 starry sky cultivator and had the evil-eyed demon dragon as his companion. Even if Shu Tian didn't feel comfortable, he would never refuse him. It was better to have one more friend than one more enemy. Shu Tian would definitely settle the score. What's going on? Shu Tian's words had made his attitude clear. He sneered inwardly. This was the Alchemy Guild's ancestor. If it weren't for Longao, would he have returned to the guild? Ancestor, brother evil-eyed, and I fell into Longao's trap. If nothing goes wrong, Longao will catch up with us soon. If we don't work together, Longao will deal with the Alchemy Guild next. Longao had severely injured the evil-eyed demon dragon. Had Longao become a level 2 starry sky cultivator? Shu Tian's luck was not bad. He had obtained a grade 2 starry sky godhead and had also completely refined it. In other words, Shu Tian was also a grade 2 starry sky cultivator. Even so, could he resist Longao? Shu Renfeng had already thought of this. Ancestor, we can't resist Longao with our strength alone. According to the current situation, we only have one way. What way? No matter how unwilling Shu Tian was, things had already come to this point. He had to deal with Longao first. Moreover, Shu Renfeng's strength was no longer the same as before. He was a level 2 starry sky cultivator and had the evil-eyed demon dragon. Once he returned to the Alchemy Guild, the guild's strength would instantly skyrocket. In this case, Shu Tian chose to endure. Ancestor, the walls have ears. Come here. Shu Tian didn't have the slightest vigilance because he had never thought that Shu Renfeng would attack him again under such circumstances. What is it? Shu Tian was very curious. He approached Shu Tian because even he wanted to kill Longao. In the star-secret realm, Longao had gone too far. Ancestor, my method is very simple. Even if the three of us join forces, we won't be Longao's opponent. The only way now is for me and brother evil-eyed to devour you. I hope we can become level 3 starry sky cultivators. The two of them had level 3 star-state divine personas. If they were to advance normally, who knew how long it would take for them to break through? Because of this, after a simple discussion, the two of them decided to devour Shu Tian's spirit and power. This way, with the help of the evil-eyed demon dragon's secret technique, they hoped to break through to level 3 starry sky cultivators in the shortest time possible. Only in this way could they resist Longao's pursuit. Before Shu Tian could react, Shu Renfeng and the evil-eyed dragon had already made their move. In just a few seconds, Shu Tian was already lying on the ground, unable to get up. Even if he died, Shu Tian would never have imagined that he would die at Shu Renfeng's hands. P.S. The second chapter has been delivered. Thank you for your votes. Little 9 will continue to write. Chapter 1870. Even the heavens could survive. You brought this upon yourself. Shu Tian couldn't blame anyone else for his sins. If Shu Renfeng could betray him once, Then he could definitely betray him a second time, a third time. Shu Tian probably couldn't die in peace. It wasn't easy for his cultivation to break through the Starry Sky cultivator. He thought that he could bring the Pill Union to a higher level. But the result? Big Brother Evil Eye, what should we do now? If he couldn't break through the level 3 Starry Sky cultivator, then Longao would chase after him and he would die. Don't worry, our Evil Eye Dragon Clan's secret technique is very powerful, but the backlash is also very strong. Backlash? Shu Renfeng, after we deal with Longao this time, we will immediately go into seclusion. If we can break through, we will be level 3 Starry Sky cultivators. If we can't. At this point, the Evil Eye Dragon didn't continue, but the meaning in his words was very clear. Things had already come to this. Did he have a choice? Just like that. Evil Eye Dragon and Shu Renfeng not only swallowed a level 3 Starry Sky Divine Deity each, they even swallowed Shu Tian's power and primordial spirit. Long Fu, can you sense the aura of Shu Renfeng and the Evil Eye Dragon? Long Ao's perception was already very strong, but even so, he still lost them in the end. The Sky Martial continent was boundless. Trying to find a trace of a person in the vast sea of people was like looking for a needle in the sea. Especially when the two deliberately gloomy, it was even more difficult. Long Fu also said helplessly, Master, the Evil Eye Dragon Clan's sacred art is still very powerful. The other party has already cut off their aura, I can't sense it at all. There was no surprise because Longao had already guessed it. Why not go to the Pill Union and try? Longao seemed to have thought that Shu Tian and the Evil Eye Dragon might return to the Pill Union. But thinking about it, he directly rejected it. Because in the Star Secret Realm, Shu Renfeng chose to betray Shu Tian. If he went back at this time, Shu Tian would help him. What would Shu Renfeng do? Not to mention Shu Renfeng, even if it was him, he would definitely not do this. Just like that, Longao directly rejected the possibility of Shu Renfeng and the Evil Eye Dragon returning to the Pill Union. Longao ignored two problems. The first question was that the most dangerous place was also the safest place. The second problem was that although Shu Renfeng had betrayed the Pill Union, he was no longer the same as before. Unless Shu Tian was an idiot, he would never let two second-level Starry Sky cultivators join him. Big Brother Long, it's better if you don't chase after him. Be careful of luring the tiger away from the mountain. Yes. Longao was in the midst of pursuing Shu Renfeng with all his might when he suddenly heard Bai Ling's warning, and he immediately turned toward the Dragon Valley. Although his grandfather and eldest brother had successfully broken through to Starry Sky cultivators, the two of them were still Grade 1 Starry Sky cultivators. Once Shu Renfeng and the Evil Eye Demonic Dragon returned, how could the Dragon Valley deal with them? Hopefully, this wasn't a diversion. After returning to the Dragon Valley, Longao heaved a long sigh of relief upon seeing that the Dragon Valley was safe and sound. This was not the way to go. Longao knew very well that even if his grandfather and big brother's cultivation had broken through to the Starry Sky cultivator realm, it still wasn't enough in this case. If the Dragon Valley had 2 second-level Starry Sky cultivators a year ago, they would definitely be invincible in the Qianwu continent. Bing Chen had become a corpse slave, but even so, he was only a second-level Starry Sky corpse slave. If Shu Renfeng and the Evil Eye Demonic Dragon came, or even a second-level Starry Sky cultivator, how could the Dragon Valley deal with them? If this matter was not solved, it would always be troublesome. As for the Starry Sky Godhead, if someone who swallowed the Starry Sky Godhead could break through to the Starry Sky cultivator realm within a year, they would be thankful to the heavens. As for the second-level Starry Sky cultivators, even his parents and grandfather, breaking through to the second-level Starry Sky cultivator realm, or even the second-level Starry Sky cultivator realm, it was almost impossible without a long time. Don't be too burdened. I will solve the family's problems. As Aoer's grandfather, how could Long Haoshe not see through his thoughts? In his opinion, his grandson was bearing too much. Although the family had reached the peak of glory, Aoer had sacrificed too much. Smiling, Longao said, Grandfather, I will leave the Dragon Valley in a moment. As for the second-level Starry Sky corpse slave, I will stay here. Also, before I leave, I will invite my master to set up a formation in the Dragon Valley. With our current strength, I believe that even a second-level Starry Sky cultivator won't be able to break it. In the current Martial Heaven continent, aside from the God Diviner, Tiandao, and Long Batian, no one else had reached the Starry Sky realm. Even Xingkuan couldn't do it. Because of this, Longao was prepared to use the formation to protect the Dragon Valley for a while. Don't worry, leave the Dragon Valley to me. Everyone, including those who had entered the Starry Sky secret realm, no matter who obtained a Starry Sky godhead, couldn't compare to Longhaosha. Longhaosha had obtained a second-level Starry Sky godhead. Once he refined and merged with it, he would become a genuine second-level Starry Sky cultivator. Longao felt helpless. Although his grandfather had devoured a second-level Starry Sky godhead, his talent was limited. It wouldn't be easy for him to become a second-level Starry Sky cultivator with the help of a second-level Starry Sky godhead. This was all he could help. As for how far his grandfather could go, it would depend on his grandfather's luck. Even if he wanted to continue, there was nothing he could do. As if he could guess what Longao was thinking, Longhaosha smiled helplessly and said, "Aoa, I know my talent is limited. It's a waste for me to devour a second-level Starry Sky godhead. If I had known this would happen, I would have let Ying'er devour it." That way, with Ying'er's talent, I believe, before his grandfather could finish, Longao interrupted, "Grandfather, in my heart, you are the most important person. Although a second-level Starry Sky godhead is important, it's nothing to worry about in my eyes. That's why it's most suitable for you to devour it." Looking at his grandfather who wanted to say something but stopped, Longao didn't seem to want to continue arguing. He changed the topic and said, "Grandfather, you've only devoured a second-level Starry Sky godhead, so refining it will be difficult." What did that mean? Longhaosha didn't quite understand what Aoa meant and asked, "Aoa, what do you mean?" "That's right, I'm going to let you devour from the lowest level. I've already prepared 5 second-level Starry Sky godheads for you. Grandfather, remember, you can devour any second-level Starry Sky godhead, but you have to refine a second-level Starry Sky godhead first." Author's note: the 3rd chapter has been delivered. Thank you for your votes. Little 9 will definitely work hard. Chapter 1871. Looking at the 4 Starry Sky divine deities in front of him, it would be a lie to say that he was not shocked. "Aoa, I've already devoured a level 6 Starry Sky divine deity. Wouldn't it be a waste to continue devouring them?" Longao had already guessed that his grandfather would say this. He smiled. "Grandfather, this time I entered the Starry Sky secret realm and obtained a lot of Starry Sky divine deities. These 4 Starry Sky divine deities are specially left for you." Without giving Longhaosha any chance to speak, Longao continued, "Grandfather, if you devour the Starry Sky divine deities step by step, according to my guess, the speed at which you break through to grade 6 Starry Sky cultivator will be halved if nothing unexpected happens. This. Grandfather, once you break through to level 6 Starry Sky cultivator, our Dragon Valley will be able to sweep the Sky Martial continent." Longhaosha originally wanted to refuse, but when he heard this, he forced himself to swallow it. For Aoa. For himself. At the same time, for the family and the Dragon Valley, he would go all out. "Aoa, grandfather will not let you down." Longhaosha did not hesitate and chose to devour the 4 Starry Sky divine deities and immediately began to cultivate. It was not only his grandfather. Longao also found Long Ying and gave her a level 3 Starry Sky divine deity. The next day, Fen Tian rushed to the Dragon Valley and secretly met with Longao. After more than 8 months of cultivation in the Starry Sky secret realm, Fen Tian's cultivation had also successfully broken through to Starry Sky cultivator. Not only that, his cultivation had reached level 2 Starry Sky cultivator. One had to know that Fen Tian had devoured a level 4 Starry Sky divine deity and also obtained the Starry Sky inheritance. He believed that in a few years, he would be able to reach his peak state and become a level 4 Starry Sky cultivator. "Aoa, you're fine. Master is very happy." Longao knew very well that his master was really doing this for his own good. "Master, I invited you this time to ask you for a favor." "What is it?" Fen Tian knew that if it was not something important, he believed that Aoa would definitely not summon him from afar. Could it be that something had happened in the Dragon Valley? He did not hide anything. He briefly recounted how he had defeated a human and a dragon, as well as how he had set up the formation in the Dragon Valley. "Aoa, there is absolutely no problem with the array formation. With our strength, once we join hands to arrange the Starry Sky array formation, not to mention a Grade 2 Starry Sky cultivator, even a Grade 3 Starry Sky cultivator might not be able to break our Starry Sky array formation." Not only Longao, even Fen Tian was filled with confidence. "Aoa, according to what you said, Shu Renfeng and the Evil Eye Demon Dragon didn't die this time. It seems like they won't let this matter rest." "That's right. Then what do you want?" "Master, to be honest, I will leave the Dragon Valley after we successfully set up the formation. No matter what happens, I will find Shu Renfeng and the Evil Eye Demon Dragon." Now that things had come to this, one man and one dragon had to die. If you don't remove the roots when cutting the weeds, they will grow again when the spring breeze blows. Longao wasn't going to leave any trouble for himself. Besides, as long as he and his dragon were still alive, they would definitely pose a threat to the safety of the Dragon Valley. He wasn't surprised in the slightest, because Fen Tian understood his disciple's character very well. Once he decided on something, it would almost never change, not to mention, it was about the Dragon Valley. If it was any other time, Fen Tian would definitely not advocate for Longao to kill them all. But now, the situation was obviously different. Since Longao was able to defeat one man and one dragon once, then he had the ability to kill one man and one dragon. Taking advantage of this time, one man and one dragon were still not strong enough, there was still a 100% chance. Once one man and one dragon slowly became stronger, it would be even more troublesome in the future. "Aoa, Master will help you. Master, you should develop the strength of the Wanjan school well. When I need you, I will definitely not be polite." Since he had already said so much, what else could Fen Tian say? All right. Just like that, Longao and Fen Tian secretly began to set up the formation. Regarding this matter, Longao was prepared to hide it from everyone, excluding his parents and grandfather, because the fewer people who knew about this, the better. With the breakthrough in their cultivation, whether it was Longao or Fen Tian, they had also taken a big step forward in terms of array formations. In other words, both of them had successfully become Starry Sky Array Masters, and they were even level 2 Starry Sky Array Masters. Not to mention the two of them working together, even if they were to set it up alone, even a level 3 Starry Sky cultivator might not be able to break it. Now that the two of them were working together, the power of the Starry Sky Array formation could be imagined. In order to ensure that the Dragon Valley was foolproof, Longao and Fen Tian studied it carefully. In addition to setting up the defensive formation, they also set up the offensive formation. After calculating it, the two of them worked together and set up more than 10 formations within 10 days. Among them, there were 3 defensive formations and the rest were all offensive formations. After successfully setting up the formation, Longao only greeted his grandfather, his parents, and his lover before leaving with Fen Tian secretly. With their current strength, no one would be able to discover them entering and leaving the Dragon Valley. It seemed that even Long Ying and Long Haosha would not be able to do it. At the peak of a huge mountain far away from the Dragon Valley, a cool breeze blew past as Longao and Fen Tian stood quietly at the peak of the mountain. "Aoa, what are you going to do? Other than dealing with Shu Renfeng and the Evil Eye Devil Dragon, I am also prepared to deal with the 10,000 Beasts ancestor, Xingkuan, and the others." Before Fen Tian could say anything, Longao continued, "Master, you should hurry up and cultivate. After a year, once the weak space is destroyed, countless cultivators will rush in. If you and I are not strong enough, then we will only be passive. At that time, we will really be in big trouble." The arrival of the calamity was what Longao was truly afraid of, because the vast starry sky was different from the Sky Marshal continent. The entire vast starry sky was filled with countless cultivators. Not to mention the Starry Sky Domain Lord or the Starry Sky Domain Emperor, just the number of cultivators above the 7th level was like the hairs on an ox. If not for the temptation of the Starry Sky Secret Realm, as a middle-grade plane, no one would enter the Starry Sky Realm. Even if a cultivator of the 6th level came, it would be a blessing in disguise. But the current situation was completely different. The temptation of the Starry Sky Secret Realm was there, and countless Starry Sky rankers had taken the risk to enter. Otherwise, the tragedy 10,000 years ago would not have happened. A year later, whether it was an opportunity or a disaster, no one would know what was going on until then. Because of what happened 10,000 years ago, until now, he had only heard of it, but had never seen it. Aoa, I know what you mean. A year later, I will definitely be able to become a cultivator of the 4th level. However, I am really worried about you facing the 10,000 beasts ancestor and the others alone. Chapter 1872. Master, don't you believe in me? How can I not believe in you? Aoa had already said so, what else could he do? With a deep sigh, Fen Tian did not say anything more. The night was exceptionally quiet. Fen Tian had already left before dawn. After all, there were still a lot of things waiting for him to deal with in Wanzhan School. Lin Junhong had already betrayed them. Now that Wanzhan School was in chaos, the consequences would be unimaginable if other sects took advantage of the situation. Now that there were Starry Sky cultivators in the 10 Directions tripod, the 10 Directions tripod dared not make a move. In the Starry Sky Secret Realm, no one knew what realm the other party had broken through to. Know thyself and know thy enemy, and thou shalt be victorious. As for the Heaven and Earth sect, this time, Yi Dugu was not qualified to enter the Starry Sky Secret Realm at all, so there was no Starry Sky cultivator in the Heaven and Earth sect. The result? Yi Dugu not only became a Starry Sky cultivator, but also a level 6 Starry Sky cultivator. What kind of concept was that? Not only that. In the Heaven and Earth sect, in addition to the sect master Yi Dugu who had become a level 6 Starry Sky cultivator, there were several Starry Sky cultivators in the sect. The sudden rise of the Heaven and Earth sect directly shocked the entire continent. How did Yi Dugu do it? No one knew why Yi Dugu's cultivation broke through to the Starry Sky cultivator for no reason, and why there were so many Starry Sky cultivators in the Heaven and Earth sect. It was as if they had appeared out of thin air. However, Yi Dugu did not enter the Starry Sky Secret Realm at all. If that was the case, where did Yi Dugu get the Starry Sky Guardhood? Others might not know, but how could Longao not know? Yi Dugu's father was the clairvoyant. If his father was the strongest person in the Tianwu continent, how could his son be inferior? Longao could almost be sure that Yi Dugu had completely hidden his strength before. This time, in the Starry Sky Secret Realm, if he and the others did not break through to the Starry Sky cultivator, he believed that Yi Dugu's cultivation would not have improved. It was better to have a good background than to work hard. However, Longao was not worried at all, because there was no grudge between him and Yi Dugu. Unless there was something wrong with Yi Dugu's brain, or if he had nothing better to do, he would not easily find trouble with him. Enemies were bound to meet on a narrow road. Just as Longao was looking for traces of Shu Renfeng everywhere, he suddenly found traces of Long Hang. Was he lucky? Or was Long Hang unlucky? Longao had never liked Long Hang. If it weren't for him, his brother Long Chen wouldn't have died, and he and his family would have almost been killed. He would not stop until he killed Long Hang. With such a rare opportunity, how could Longao easily choose to give up? What a coincidence. Long Hang and 2 of his subordinates were currently out on an errand. If he knew that Longao had already set his sights on him, Long Hang would have most likely rushed back to the Dragon Valley a long time ago. Longao was no longer who he used to be. The fact that he was able to leave the Star Secret Realm alive was proof enough. Even if he had not broken through to the Starry Sky Realm, he would most likely have reached the peak of Nirvana rebirth. According to the old ancestor, Longao had already reached the half-step Starry Sky Realm. With his current strength, once he faced Longao, he would definitely die. It was a pleasant surprise. Regardless of whether it was the old ancestor Long Tien or the master Long Di Tien, they had successfully devoured the starry sky divine sparks in the star-secret realm this time. Their cultivation had also reached the level 1 starry sky realm. The two of them still had other starry sky divine sparks and believed that they could continue to improve in the future. No matter what happened, as long as the old ancestor and the master were around, Long Hang knew that he would be safe. But was that really the case? Long Hang, long time no see. How have you been? Looking at the young man who suddenly appeared in front of him, Long Hang was completely dumbfounded. Longao? He swallowed his saliva hard. Although he did not want to believe that Longao could leave the star-secret realm alive, the truth was in front of his eyes. Run. Long Hang already knew how powerful Longao was. If he continued to stay, he would definitely die. The current Long Hang did not want to continue fighting with Longao. He wanted to save his life first. As for Longao, so what if he was powerful and half a step into the starry sky realm? As long as he returned to the Dragon Valley, would Longao dare to chase after him? With the deterrence of the old ancestor and the master, Longao would not dare to take half a step into the Dragon Valley even if he was given 10,000 guts. A half step into the starry sky realm and a true starry sky realm cultivator were two completely different concepts. They were not on the same level, unless Longao was courting death. However, with Longao's current strength, would Long Hang have a chance to escape? Do you want to leave? Longao sneered. In the next second, he was already in front of Long Hang. He gently punched his left and right, killing two of Long Hang's men. Their bodies fell heavily to the ground. Longao, what do you want? Long Hang, didn't you want to kill me before? I'm standing in front of you now. Can you make a move now? Shameless. If you hadn't broken through to the half-step starry sky realm, would you dare to talk to me like this? In the current situation, even if Long Hang had 10,000 guts, he would never dare to make a move. Because the master had said that Longao was too strong. Even if he had not broken through to the starry sky realm, he could fight a grade 1 starry sky realm cultivator with his half-step starry sky realm strength and even kill a grade 1 starry sky god beast. If the master and the old ancestor hadn't said it themselves, he would not have believed it even if he was beaten to death. Longao, I will settle the grudge between you and me in the future. As for now, I don't have time to play with you. Get out of my way. Longao smiled but did not speak. Longao, what do you want? Looking at the sneer on Longao's face, Long Hang seemed to have guessed something. His face became gloomier and gloomier. Once Longao made a move, how could he deal with it? Long Hang retreated again and again, but Longao did not move. He just looked at him motionlessly. The more Longao acted like this, the more uncertain Long Hang felt. He didn't know what Longao meant. I will send you back to the Dragon Valley. Hearing this, Long Hang seemed to have thought of something. His face changed drastically. He didn't continue to hesitate. He turned around and shot forward as fast as he could. He used all his strength because he knew very well that once Longao caught up with him, he would definitely die. But in front of the current Longao, could Long Hang run away? There was no doubt that Longao used teleportation and appeared in front of Long Hang in an instant. This time, Longao did not continue to talk nonsense and threw out a punch. It seemed very slow, but in fact, it was so fast that Long Hang couldn't even see its afterimage. Long Hang wanted to resist, but he was shocked to find that he couldn't see the other party's afterimage at all. Before Long Hang could react, a scream rang out, and Long Hang was killed by the punch. P.S. Chapter 5. Chapter 1873. Longao did not continue to look for Shu Renfeng and the evil eye dragon. Because now, he had something very important to do. Long family. Both Long Di Tien and Long Tien had successfully become starry sky cultivators, and Long Tien had even broken through to level 2. As for the starry sky divine deity that the two of them obtained, they immediately gave it to the primordial divine dragon to devour. Master, the great elder's body was found outside. What? Hearing the servant's report, Long Dietian and Long Tian were completely shocked. The two figures moved quickly, and in a short while, they had already arrived outside the main hall. Looking at the corpses on the ground, the two men's faces were very gloomy and ugly. Long Hang, the great elder of the Long family, his cultivation had already reached the Nirvana realm. Unless it was a Nirvana rebirth martial artist or a starry sky cultivator, who could kill Long Hang? Most importantly, Long Hang was the great elder of the Long family. This was known to the world. Who dared to provoke the Long family? It was simply courting death. Long time no see, both of you. How have you been? Seeing Longao suddenly appear, the two's faces suddenly changed. Because they didn't know who spread the news that Longao had become a level 2 starry sky cultivator, and there were 3 other level 2 starry sky cultivators in the Dragon Valley. In other words, today, Longao, including himself, had a total of 4 level 2 starry sky cultivators. With such powerful strength, it would be easy to destroy the Long family. Long family, there was only 1 level 2 starry sky cultivator, and that was Long Dietian. 1 against 4, could the Long clan do it? Longao, why did you suddenly come to my Long family? In fact, everyone had already guessed that Long Hang's death must be related to Longao. Otherwise, how could one be sent back and the other appear? How could there be such a coincidence? If it was in the past, would the two of them agree to Longao swaggering into the Long family? However, the situation now was completely different. The news of the first elder's death had spread throughout the Long family. In just a few minutes, the Long family's disciples had gathered around. Many of them wanted to know what had happened. I killed Long Hang. As expected. Suppressing his anger, Long Dietian asked coldly, Longao, what is the meaning of this? It's very simple. The grudge between us must be settled today. Thinking about it, Longao felt that it was a little unrealistic. A few years ago, he was still a trash that was ridiculed by everyone. His family was at the bottom of the Long family, and he didn't even have the ability to protect himself. But now, he already had the power to destroy a Long family. What do you want? It's very simple. As long as the two of you commit suicide here, I won't kill anyone. However, from today onwards, there will be no Long family in the Sky Martial continent. My dragon sect will also annex your Long family. This was something that Longao had always dreamed of. If the dragon sect annexed the Long family, then from today onwards, there would be no Long family in the Sky Martial continent, only the dragon sect. No one was surprised, because everyone knew that Longao was no longer the same as before. He was a level 2 starry sky cultivator and had the help of 3 level 2 starry sky cultivators. This terrifying strength was enough to sweep across the Sky Martial continent. What should they do? Did they really have to commit suicide? Destroy the family? Shame. A great shame. Since the establishment of the Long family, this kind of shame had never happened before. Not to mention a Longao, even the other superpowers would not dare to do this. Longao simply did not put them in his eyes. Could they bear it? You don't want to? Longao did not want to continue talking nonsense. Everything depended on strength. He stretched out his right hand and gently swiped it. What did Longao want to do? Was he crazy? Or was there water in his head? Longao's actions seemed a little incomprehensible. He gently swiped in the direction of Long Dietian and Long Tian. What did this mean? Immediately after, a shocking scene appeared. In the space beside the two of them, a crack as thick as an arm suddenly appeared. Others might not be able to sense anything, but the two of them were starry sky cultivators. Of course, they could sense that the crack that Longao had broken was not a spatial crack, but a crack in the starry sky. The two of them were completely stunned, because they never thought that not only did Longao's cultivation break through to level 2 starry sky cultivator, he also had such a powerful sacred art. Once they were swallowed by the crack in the starry sky, the two of them would definitely die. No wonder Longao was fearless. No wonder Longao dared to come alone. This was strength, this was confidence. The two of them seemed to be in despair and did not even want to make a move. Because they did not know why, they had a feeling that even if they made a move, the result would be the same. Especially when they saw Longao release the sacred art, it was too shocking. Longao, our grudges are written off. We can agree to any of your conditions as long as you are willing to stop. If you insist on killing us, once we leave alive, you will be fine, but your Dragon Valley. At this point, Long Di Tien did not continue speaking. However, the meaning behind his words was very clear. It was a threat, a blatant threat. This was because the two of them knew that it was impossible for them to fight against each other with just strength. If that was the case, there was only one way, and it was the only way, and that was to threaten them. Longao could ignore himself, but could he also ignore his family? I'm afraid not. As long as Longao still cared about his family, then this matter would be much easier. After all, among the two of them, Long Tien was a level 2 starry sky cultivator, and Long Di Tien was a level 1 starry sky cultivator. As for the primordial divine dragon and the 9 heavens divine dragon, they believed that they would also advance to become starry sky divine beasts in the future. How could Longao not be afraid? Sure enough. Longao's expression also changed because his family was his bottom line. No matter who it was, as long as they dared to touch this bottom line, they would die without a doubt. If the two of them did not threaten him, Longao might let the Long family go. At the very least, he would not kill innocent people. But now, Longao sneered and said coldly, "You two are very good, but if you want to threaten me, let's see if you have the ability." Was Longao not afraid of his threat? The two of them were very clear about the meaning of Longao's words. Was he really that confident? Unless it was a last resort, the two of them were definitely not willing to fall out with each other. Long family was their blood, sweat, and tears, and they definitely did not want it to be destroyed so casually. The two of them were even more clear that once they died or escaped, there was no doubt that the Long family would be finished. Their expressions changed again and again. Chapter 1874. His face was gloomy. I'll give you a chance. If the two of you can defeat me together, I'll let you go. How about it? If it was a year ago, Long Di Tien and Long Tien would definitely not be afraid of such a request. But now, Longao's cultivation had not only reached level 2, but he also possessed such a powerful sacred art. Shattering the starry sky. Just thinking about it made them feel scared. What if Longao took advantage of the fact that the two of them weren't paying attention and suddenly shattered the starry sky? What would the two of them do then? Once they were swallowed by the space crack, they would definitely die. In the end, the two of them did not dare to accept the challenge. The more he thought about it, the more humiliating it was. After all, there were disciples of the Long family all around them. They could only watch as their old ancestor and grandmaster did not dare to accept the challenge. Face was irrelevant. If word of this were to spread out, the Long family would be utterly humiliated. They endured it again and again. Longao, I beg you to let us go. Master, why do you have to beg him? At most, we can just fight him. I don't believe it. Before this person could finish speaking, a scream rang out. Longao's left hand slashed out, and this person was already swallowed by the space crack, his primordial spirit destroyed. He was shocked. Everyone looked at Longao in shock. Such a sacred art was truly shocking. No wonder even the old ancestor and the master did not dare to provoke him. Everyone retreated and looked at each other in horror. Longao, what do you think? Long Di Tien had already made a request. For a master, it was almost impossible for this to happen before. Would Longao agree? Definitely not. Taking advantage of the fact that Long Di Tien and Long Tien were not strong yet, he could completely eliminate them. If their strength increased, wouldn't he be causing trouble for himself? The two of you kill yourselves. Long family will join the dragon sect. Is there no discussion? No. Long Di Tien and Long Tien clenched their fists tightly and looked at Longao with gloomy faces. This was because the two of them had already decided that if Longao insisted on attacking, then even if they died, they would definitely not help him. Brother Long, let's stop here. As Longao was about to kill them, A voice suddenly came from the rift in the 9 heavens. Long Batian. Seeing Long Batian descend from the sky, not only Longao, even the others, including Long Di Tien and Long Tien, were shocked to the extreme. Especially Long Di Tien and Long Tien, the two of them never thought that Long Batian would suddenly appear. Back then, Long Batian had risen to power, causing chaos in the Long family. In the end, he was killed. They thought that Long Batian had died, but they didn't expect him to still be alive. Long Batian did not deliberately hide his aura. Starry Sky Ruler. Sensing the powerful aura emanating from the other party, Long Di Tien and Long Tien were completely stunned. Long Batian was the leader of the Starry Sky Zone? Is this true? If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he would have found it hard to believe. The two of them were very clear on what being a Starry Sky Ruler meant. Let alone the martial heaven continent, even in the entire Starry Sky, a Starry Sky Ruler was a supreme existence. They were existences that could shake the continent with just a stomp of their feet. Big brother, why are you stopping me? After a brief moment of shock, Longao understood what had happened. Long Batian had broken through by devouring a rank 9 Starry Sky godhead. If he wanted to rely on his own cultivation to advance to the Starry Sky Domain Lord realm, then there was only one simple way to break through, and that was to continue devouring. Devouring a Starry Sky Ruler's godhead. The only thing Longao was shocked by was where Long Batian had obtained the Starry Sky Ruler's godhead. The only explanation was that he had obtained it from the Starry Sky secret realm. Brother Long, I'll explain the reason to you in a bit. Since Long Batian had already said this, what else could he say? He could only nod in agreement. Long Tien, it's been so many years. I trust you've been well. Swallowing hard, Long Tien bitterly smiled. So you've been hiding your strength this entire time. Back then, you clearly had the power to destroy us. Why didn't you do it? The two of them were very curious. The power of a Starry Sky Ruler was clear for all to see. Long Tien, I don't want to say too much. Longao can let you off for now, but you'd best not touch the Dragon Valley. Otherwise, I'll personally destroy the Long family. As if he didn't want to continue speaking, Long Batian turned and left with Longao. In just a short while, the two of them had vanished without a trace. Long Batian and Long Tien looked at each other. They could see a trace of helplessness in each other's eyes. Everyone in the surroundings had been dismissed. Only the two of them remained. Patriarch, what should we do now? Long Batian was extremely regretful. If he had known that this would happen, he wouldn't have done it back then. If he had known that Longao would have achieved what he had today, he would have killed him no matter what. He believed that he wouldn't be in such trouble today. Truly, the evils he brought upon himself were the hardest to bear. Longao and Long Batian are not people we can provoke. Even if you and I become level 4 Starry Sky cultivators, we're still no match for them. Pass down the order. From now on, no one is to provoke Longao and the Dragon Valley. Even if he was unwilling to do so, he could only do so. If he continued to provoke Longao, only death would await him. How could Long Batian not understand the Patriarch's meaning? He sighed deeply and helplessly. The world has changed. No matter what, we never thought that Longao would reach such a level. If only we had known earlier. Waving his hand, Long Tien continued, things have already happened. There's no need to dwell on it. You deal with Long Batian's matter. Don't leak it out. As for Longao, we'll endure it for now. Once this calamity is over, you and I will leave the Tianwu continent and enter the vast Starry Sky. When we become Starry Sky Domain Lords, it will be time for revenge. Becoming a Starry Sky Domain Lord was easier said than done. The vast Starry Sky was filled with experts. With their strength, once they stepped into the vast Starry Sky, it was unknown if they would survive. Not to mention devouring the Starry Sky Domain Lord's divine spark, it was unknown if they could even return alive. However, there seemed to be no other way. If they wanted to obtain the Starry Sky Domain Lord's divine spark, they could only enter the Starry Sky secret realm. If the godly mathematician wasn't willing, who could enter the Starry Sky secret realm? The starry sky secret realm and the vast starry sky had two choices. Whether it was Long Batian or Long Tien, they would definitely choose the vast starry sky, not the starry sky secret realm. Long family's matter quickly spread. As for Longao's matter, it was forcefully concealed by the Long family. The news of Longao barging into the Long family shocked the entire continent. P.S. The 7th chapter has been delivered. There are still 3 chapters left. The weather is too hot, so I've written a bit too much. Everyone can imagine how much I've written on the computer for a long time, so please don't scold me. Little 9 will do his best to write as quickly as possible. Chapter 1875. In the 9 heavens, at the top of the clouds. Using the clouds as stools, the two of them sat facing each other. Big brother, why don't you let me destroy the Long family? Longao was very curious. He did not know why Long Batian would do this. In front of the starry sky domain master, even if the Long family was powerful, it seemed a little inadequate. Brother Long, this is a little troublesome. You should know that the Black Demon Domain Master is sealed in the Draconic Mystic Realm. If we destroy the Long family, the Black Demon will break out of the seal without the suppression of the dragon breath. At that time, the Clairvoyant will definitely not let this go. So that's why. It was because of the Black Demon Domain Master. Of course, Longao did not feel the slightest bit of hatred toward the Black Demon Domain Master. The Black Demon was also a Starry Sky Domain Master, who was sealed here by the Clairvoyant. Was he going to let the Long family go just like that? He was unwilling. Longao's heart was filled with unwillingness. The Long family was about to be destroyed, but for various reasons, he could not do it. It was simply a pain in the ass. As if he could guess Longao's thoughts, Long Batian said with a smile, "Brother Long, the catastrophe will come in a year. At that time, you can destroy the Long family at will, and I believe that no one will care." What about the Black Demon Domain Master? Long Batian had just said that if he destroyed the Long family easily, the consequences would be unimaginable once the Black Demon Domain Master was released. Don't worry about this. When the catastrophe comes, everyone will fight for themselves. No one will lock you up. As for the Black Demon Domain Master, even if you don't destroy the Long family, I believe that the Clairvoyant will not continue to seal him. So that's why. It was not impossible to wait for another year. Longao was full of confidence that he could easily destroy the Long family in a year. Even if Long Detien and Long Tien devoured higher-level Starry Sky godheads, he still had level 8 Starry Sky soul slaves. He would not believe that the two of them could break through to level 8 Starry Sky cultivators in a year. Big brother, your cultivation broke through to the Starry Sky Domain Master because of the Clairvoyant? He nodded. That's right. It was Master God Diviner who gave me a Cosmic Domain Overlord's Godhead. After 8 months of refining it, my cultivation finally broke through to the Cosmic Domain Overlord's realm. As expected. Longao had already guessed that the Godhead Long Batian had devoured had to have been given to him by the God Diviner. Otherwise, who on the Martial Heaven continent could casually take out a Starry Sky Overlord Godhead? Brother Long, you are just a grade 2 Starry Sky cultivator. Forget it, let's not talk about it anymore. What did that mean? Longao felt helpless, but since Long Batian didn't want to talk about it, there was no need for him to ask. Longao knew that if Long Batian wanted to talk, even if he didn't ask, Long Batian would tell him anyway. If Long Batian didn't want to talk, then even if he asked, Long Batian wouldn't tell him. He stood up. Long Batian looked at the clouds in front of him helplessly. He sighed deeply. Brother Long, once the calamity is over, you can immediately leave this continent and head to the vast starry sky to take a look. That's exactly what I was thinking. In the vast starry sky, there were many planes and countless experts fighting for supremacy. With his current strength, he could definitely enter the vast starry sky to take a look. However, because of the calamity, he couldn't leave the Martial Heaven continent and enter the vast starry sky. The vast starry sky, sigh. This sigh expressed too many meanings. Even Longao didn't know what Long Batian meant, but he didn't ask. 6 hours later, Long Batian got up and left, leaving Longao alone at the top of the clouds. Martial Heaven Continent. The current Longao's name had already spread throughout the world. He had single-handedly charged into the Long family and fought against 10,000. In the end, he had scared Long Di Tian and Long Tian into begging for mercy. As for why Longao didn't start a massacre, everyone was very curious. However, the Long family had already sealed off the news. No matter who it was, no one could get the slightest bit of information. However, Longao's strength was already an indisputable fact. The Dragon sect was ranked first among the 10 factions. Dragon race. Draconic mystic realm. Black Demon, who was cultivating with his eyes closed, suddenly opened his eyes. He sneered and said, "Heavenly Tao, why have you come to my dark space for no reason?" The Heavenly Tao suddenly descended and said with a smile, "Black Demon, I came to find you this time to discuss something with you. A year later, the divine mathematician will reopen the passage. At that time, countless cultivators from the vast starry sky will flood into the continent and enter the starry sky mystic realm." So what? Black Demon was very curious. He didn't know what the Heavenly Tao was talking about. 10,000 years ago, he had followed countless cultivators into the martial heaven continent. In the end, not only did he not get what he wanted, he was killed by the divine mathematician and sealed in the draconic mystic realm. After 10,000 years, he couldn't break out of the seal. It's very simple. I want to work with you. What do you mean? Black Demon was even more curious. He didn't know what the Heavenly Tao was talking about. Black Demon, you were killed by the divine mathematician and sealed here for 10,000 years. I know you're not convinced, so I came to find you this time to work with you. A year later, we'll work together to deal with the divine mathematician. I can promise you that once we obtain the starry sky mystic realm, we'll split it in half. How about it? With just the two of us? Black Demon's meaning was very simple. Although he and the Heavenly Tao were both domain lords, the divine mathematician was the ruler of the starry sky, the ruler of the starry sky. He was extremely powerful. Back then, countless cultivators had rushed into the martial heaven continent, but they had all been killed by the divine mathematician. The world only knew that the Heavenly Tao had killed all the cultivators of the starry sky, but they didn't know that the true master behind the scenes was the divine mathematician, not the Heavenly Tao. Back then, the Heavenly Tao had only been an 8th rank cultivator. Let alone a domain lord, it was unknown if he could even kill an 8th rank cultivator. Don't worry about that, Black Demon. Since I've found you, I have a way to deal with the divine mathematician. I'm sure you know what the starry sky mystic realm means. If we obtain the starry sky mystic realm, the Heavenly Tao didn't continue, but his meaning was clear. What method do you have? It would be a lie to say that he wasn't tempted. Back then, he had risked his life to enter the martial heaven continent for the starry sky mystic realm. In the end, he had gone for wool and come home shorn. Now that he had a chance to regain the starry sky mystic realm, he naturally wanted to try. Listen carefully. The Heavenly Tao used his spiritual senses to send a voice transmission and roughly explained the method that he was going to use. What do you think? Although it's risky, it's not a bad idea. Alright, I'll agree. A year from now, we'll work together. Author's note, Chapter 8 has been delivered. Those brothers who still have votes, please vote for Longao. Xiaoju thanks. Chapter 1876. Without danger, there would be no opportunity. Danger and opportunity coexisted. Tian Dao didn't leave. Instead, he discussed the plan with Heimo in detail. At the top of the clouds in the Tianwu continent, Longao, who was about to leave, suddenly heard the voice of the black-clothed youth. Longao was very curious. He didn't know why the black-clothed youth suddenly looked for him at this time. In the wordless space of the heavenly book. Senior, what's the matter? The black-clothed youth nodded and said with appreciation, "You're worthy of being my reincarnation. In just 1 year, you've become a second-level starry sky cultivator. Longao didn't say anything because he didn't know what the black-clothed youth wanted to say. Longao, I believe you've already guessed my identity. I'm from the Reincarnation clan. Therefore, in 1 year, you must leave the Tianwu continent and enter the vast starry sky. With the Reincarnation sword in your hand, you must find the passage to the Reincarnation clan. So it was about this. Senior, there's one thing I don't understand. Since you're from the Reincarnation clan, why don't you take me to find the passage? Why do you want me to look for it? He couldn't figure it out. He really couldn't figure it out. I can't leave this space. Moreover, my true body has died. Even my primordial spirit is less than 1% of my true body. I can't help you find the passage to the Reincarnation clan. Depressed. In other words, he had to rely on himself. As for the catastrophe, it's all the marvelous mathematician's business. If he doesn't want to open the passage, not to mention others, even the Starry Sky Domain Emperor can't open the passage to the Tianwu continent. Longao had already thought of this. The marvelous mathematician was the Starry Sky Domain Emperor. Longao was almost certain that the marvelous mathematician's strength had reached the peak of the Starry Sky Domain Emperor realm. If such a super-existence didn't want to open the passage, who could open it? The catastrophe was a joke. In the end, he was still a chess piece. Not only him, but also others were chess pieces of the marvelous mathematician. Even if he knew clearly, what could he do? As if he could see through Longao's thoughts, the black-clothed youth smiled and said, Longao, let's be frank. Although you are my reincarnated body, if you can't do what I tell you to do, I will kill you and reincarnate again. Anger. Not only was he a pawn of the oracle, but he was also a pawn of the black-robed young man. So what if he was the 100th reincarnation of the other party? He was himself. He would not be anyone else. Longao had already thought about it. Once he had the chance, he would definitely regain his freedom and not be anyone's chess piece. As for the inheritance of the Reincarnation clan, you will have to find it yourself. Longao's face was very indifferent, as if it had nothing to do with him. Longao didn't want to continue arguing. He knew that without absolute strength, he didn't even have the right to speak. A grade 2 Starry Sky cultivator, perhaps in the eyes of the world, was already very powerful. However, in front of a real powerhouse, one was just a chess piece, nothing at all. If he wanted to have the right to speak, if he didn't want to become a pawn, he had to make himself stronger. Longao returned to the massacre abyss. Liuli, Yun Luoshan, Yun Feng, and Chief-elect had already devoured the Starry Sky God Sparks. The four of them had absolute confidence that within a year, they would be able to completely refine the Starry Sky God Sparks and break through to the Starry Sky Cultivator realm. The four of them devoured the Starry Sky God Sparks and their cultivation rose rapidly. Although they couldn't advance to the Starry Sky Cultivator realm in the shortest time possible, it was much easier for them to comprehend the heaven and earth and break through to the Nirvana Rebirth realm. Inside the main hall, looking at the master in front of them, the four of them were filled with gratitude. Because the four of them knew very well that without the master, they wouldn't have been able to devour the Starry Sky God Sparks and become Starry Sky Cultivators. Especially Liuli, she was very grateful for the decision she had made. Master, we can't thank you enough. We will definitely remember your kindness. In the future, we will not hesitate to go through water and tread on fire for you. He smiled and waved his hand. You don't have to be polite with me. The four of you only devoured grade 1 Starry Sky God Sparks. In the future, when you break through to the Starry Sky Cultivator realm, I will help you find higher grade Starry Sky God Sparks. The four of them looked at each other, pleasantly surprised. They didn't doubt the master's words. The 4 Starry Sky God Sparks were enough to prove it. Facts spoke louder than words. The matter of the Starry Sky God Sparks has come to an end for now. Now, I have something important to tell you. Master, please speak. Seeing the master's grave expression, the four of them knew that what the master was about to say was no small matter. In a year, the weak space will open. At that time, countless Starry Sky cultivators will pour into the continent. We have to make preparations. Otherwise, it will be too late. Longao knew that in a year, the calamity would descend. Countless starry sky cultivators would enter the martial heaven continent for the starry sky secret realm, but there was always a possibility. If some starry sky cultivators didn't enter the starry sky secret realm and stayed outside, then things would become troublesome. So Longao decided to use this year to create the Slaughter Abyss. Then he would move the entire Dragon Valley into the Slaughter Abyss. At that time, even if some starry sky cultivators didn't enter the starry sky secret realm, he would be able to deal with them. The four of them were shocked. In the past 10,000 years, the martial heaven continent hadn't had a single cultivator from the starry sky. But in just a year, countless cultivators from the starry sky would enter the continent. If the sect master hadn't personally said it, they wouldn't have believed it even if they were beaten to death. Master, we understand what you mean. Then do we have to deal with the other sects? There's no need. The four of them nodded. Lioli continued, since that's the case, we'll immediately start making arrangements. Chief-elect thought about it and said, Master, don't worry. Once my cultivation base breaks through to the starry sky secret realm, I'll set up formations around the channel. Even if starry sky cultivators come in a year, I'll be able to stop them. He felt more or less helpless. The reason was simple. A year later, if the person who came was just a low-level starry sky cultivator, then everything would be fine. However, if the person who came was a starry sky domain lord or a starry sky domain emperor, or even a grade 8 or grade 9 starry sky cultivator, it would be very difficult to deal with them. After all, array formations were not omnipotent. If Chief-elect and Lioli could break through to the starry sky domain lord realm, then the formations they set up would be able to deal with any trouble. The four of you, go make arrangements. You're dismissed. Yes, Master. The four of them carefully turned and left the hall. P.S. The 9th chapter has been delivered. There's only one chapter left. Little 9, take a rest. Chapter 1877. Originally, he wanted to deploy and then move to Dragon Valley. But just in case, Longao was ready to complete the transfer ahead of time. Longao personally rushed back to Dragon Valley and told Longhaosha his intentions. As the master of Dragon Valley, Longhaosha had no objections, because he knew very well that Aoa must have his own reasons for doing so. Even if he couldn't help Aoa, he definitely wouldn't cause any trouble for Aoa. Just like that. The Dragon Valley left the 9 prefectures with great fanfare and moved to the Tianwu continent. With the departure of Dragon Sect, the overlord position of the 9 continents was instantly given up. As for which sect would rise, this was no longer something Longao should consider. In just 3 days, everyone in Dragon Valley had been transferred to the Massacre Abyss. There were more than 10,000 people, but with the huge space of the Massacre Abyss, not to mention 10,000 people, even hundreds of thousands of people were more than enough. Dan Alliance. With the death of Shu Tian, the entire Sky Martial continent was shaken again. But one had to know. Shu Tian was not only the leader of Dan Alliance, but also a second-level starry sky cultivator. Such an expert was definitely the top existence in Sky Martial continent. As for the murderer, Shu Renfeng and Evil Eye Demon Dragon killed Shu Tian, almost blinding everyone's eyes. But one had to know that Shu Renfeng was the leader of Dan Alliance, and Shu Tian was the ancestor of Dan Alliance. The leader killed the ancestor. What was this? Only a few people knew about the Star Secret Realm, and the others knew nothing about it. Betraying the sect. But in this continent where strength was respected, strength was everything. Shu Renfeng and Evil Eye Demon Dragon were both second-level starry sky cultivators. Even if they killed Shu Tian, no one would say anything. The current Dan Alliance was Shu Renfeng's world. Big Brother Evil Eye, we still can't break through the third-level starry sky cultivator. Why is that? They had already devoured Shu Tian's power. According to the secret technique of the Evil Eye Demon Dragon clan, the two of them should have already broken through the third-level starry sky cultivator. The result? If they didn't break through, if Longao came at this time, the consequences would be unimaginable. Evil Eye Demon Dragon's face was also dignified, and said helplessly, under normal circumstances, This should be impossible. How about this? You and I continue to devour the starry sky divine deity, devour all, and we'll try again. Since things had already come to this point, this was the only way. After settling down his family, Longao left the massacre abyss and continued to search for Shu Renfeng and the evil eye demon dragon. Their target was the Alchemy Guild. Longao already knew that Shu Renfeng and the evil eye demon dragon had killed Shu Tian. Without a doubt. If nothing unexpected happened, Shu Renfeng and the evil eye devil dragon were now in the Dan Alliance. Cut the weeds and eliminate the roots. Longao charged toward the Alchemy Guild alone. Although he seemed to be alone, there were actually 4 of them, Long Ming, Long Qiong, and his reincarnation avatar. The 4 of them were all grade 2 starry sky cultivators. Once they joined forces, unless it was a grade 3 starry sky cultivator or above, who could fight against them? And the result? After searching the entire Dan Alliance, Longao still couldn't find any traces of Shu Renfeng and the evil eye demon dragon. Nobody in the Alchemy Guild would dare to stop Longao, considering how powerful he was and how he had caused trouble in the Long family. Where was he? Standing in the void of the Alchemy Guild, Longao curiously looked at the entire Alchemy Guild below. With Longao's current grade 2 starry sky cultivator, his aura was enough to cover the entire Alchemy Guild. If Shu Renfeng and the evil eye demon dragon were really in the Alchemy Guild, it was impossible for him not to sense them. Longao knew very well that Shu Renfeng must have guessed that he would come to the Alchemy Guild to look for him after learning that he had killed Shu Tian, so he left in advance. In the vast sea of people, it was really not easy to find the traces of a man and a dragon. As long as he couldn't find the traces of Shu Renfeng and the evil eye demon dragon, Longao wouldn't be at ease. This didn't mean that he was afraid, but he was worried that the man and the dragon would deal with the Dragon Valley. Who could guarantee that the people in the Dragon Valley wouldn't leave the massacre abyss? The assassination of 2 grade 2 starry sky cultivators was a very terrible thing. If he was careless, someone would be assassinated. No matter who was killed, it wasn't something he could bear. So, he had to find the traces of the man and the dragon and then kill them. Zhozhou Continent. Tianzhu, the old site of the Scarlet Fire Town. The Scarlet Fire Town had been reduced to ruins, but because of nostalgia, Longao specially ordered to rebuild the Scarlet Fire Town and restore it to its original appearance. The Scarlet Fire Town didn't have any sects in it. It was only jointly controlled by a few small families. For some reason, Longao suddenly had a whim. Unknowingly, he had already arrived at the Scarlet Fire Town. He strolled around and did as he pleased. Thinking back to a few years ago, he really couldn't help but sigh. He was ruined by the so-called desolate saint body for 10 years. If it wasn't for the dragon seal, he was afraid that he would still be a waste today. It was really true that he was defeated by the desolate saint body and succeeded by the desolate saint body. Long family. Looking at the familiar family, Longao smiled. Pushing open the door, Longao walked in. Everything was unchanged, but the entire courtyard was empty. Except for the regular cleaning, no one would enter under normal circumstances. The location of the Long family was also listed as a forbidden area by the Dragon sect. No matter who it was, no one was allowed to enter without permission. Hey, who are you? How dare you step into the Long family? Longao had just stepped in, but before he even entered the room, he heard an angry roar coming from outside the courtyard. Smiling helplessly, Longao didn't continue to enter. Instead, he slowly retreated. The courtyard was already filled with dozens of people, all of whom were Xiantian martial artists. If it was a few years ago, Xiantian martial artists could completely dominate the Scarlet Fire Town. But now, because of Longao and the Dragon sect, Xiantian martial artists could be seen everywhere in the Scarlet Fire Town. Who are you? Why did you enter the Long family? Because Longao was the god of the Scarlet Fire Town, the Long family was the forbidden area of the town. Under normal circumstances, no one would dare to step in. But this young man in front of them recklessly entered. They all glared at Longao, wanting to swallow him whole. I just admire Senior Longao, so I accidentally entered. Admire. Hearing that the other party only admired Senior Longao, their anger obviously subsided a lot, but they still said angrily, even if you admire him, you can't casually step into the Long family's courtyard. Boy, hurry up and leave. Don't casually step into the Long family's courtyard in the future, and this matter will be forgotten. There wasn't the slightest anger. Instead, there was a different feeling. In this way, Longao casually walked, wherever he went. Unknowingly, Longao's aura had completely merged with the heaven and earth, and his primordial spirit suddenly left his body. The primordial spirit leaving the body was something that even a starry sky cultivator couldn't do. P.S. All 10 chapters have been sent. Today, everyone is too awesome. The votes today are more than the usual week. In order to thank everyone, there will be 10 more chapters tomorrow. I hope everyone will continue to vote. Little 9 will work hard to update. Chapter 1878. Let alone ordinary cultivators, even domain lords might not be able to separate their Yuan spirit from their bodies. As for Longao, it was more or less due to luck. Otherwise, with Longao's strength, he wouldn't have been able to separate his Yuan spirit from his body. Where was his Yuan spirit going? Longao was shocked to find that his Yuan spirit wasn't under his control. In other words, his Yuan spirit could go wherever it wanted, but what about his true body? Longao was depressed to the extreme. Everything was fine, but his primordial spirit left his body, causing his original body to stay in place. Fortunately, this was a desolate place. If it had been a busy city, he would have died. Even so, Longao was still a bit afraid. If his luck had been bad and his enemies had run into his true body, he would have been in big trouble. He sighed deeply. Since things had already reached this point, this was the only way. The primordial spirit floated towards the 9 heavens void and floated higher and higher. Its speed was extremely fast. Longao had a feeling that the speed of the primordial spirit was even higher than teleportation. Where was it going? Longao was very curious. He didn't know where his Yuan spirit was going. At the edge of the continent. Longao's Yuan spirit had already reached the edge, but it was blocked by a mysterious barrier. What terrifying power! Longao could almost be sure that the mysterious power that was blocking his primordial spirit was definitely the seal that the divine mathematician had set up. So his Yuan spirit wanted to leave the continent. Longao knew that even a starry sky domain lord wouldn't be able to break the seal set up by the godly mathematician, let alone his own primordial spirit. Just as Longao was about to try to control his Yuan spirit and return to his true body, suddenly, the situation changed. His Yuan spirit transformed into a stream of air and passed through the barrier without any suspense, leaving the martial heaven continent. In the outer sea. In the Crystal Palace. The god diviner, who had been cultivating, suddenly opened his eyes. He was curious as to what was going on. The ceiling barrier was disturbed. The god diviner shook his head with a smile. He was completely confident that no one on the martial heaven continent would be able to touch his ceiling barrier. Thus, he continued cultivating without thinking too much into it. If Master Godly Diviner found out that the chi cover he had arranged could not even trap the life essence of a grade 2 starry sky cultivator, who knows what Master Godly Diviner would think. Leaving the sky martial continent. F***CK looking at the scene in front of him, Longao was completely stunned. As soon as he left the martial heaven continent, Longao was pleasantly surprised to find that he could control his Yuan spirit. The vast starry sky. Could this be the vast starry sky? In front of Longao. It was boundless, and there were light spots flashing everywhere. Longao knew that these light spots that he saw, if there was no accident, must be the so-called countless planes. According to the information he received, there were countless planes in the vast starry sky, and the planes were divided into 3 levels: low-level planes, mid-level planes, and high-level planes. Only mid-level and high-level planes could give birth to starry sky cultivators. Countless silhouettes flickered continuously. These were the cultivators of the vast starry skies. No matter what level the plane was, Only cultivators who had broken through to the starry sky could enter the vast starry sky at will. In other words, if a cultivator below the starry sky stepped into the vast starry sky, they would be instantly killed. This was also why there was a saying, all cultivators below the starry sky were ants. If his main body had left, Longao naturally wouldn't have the slightest fear. At worst, he would just charge into the vast starry sky. But now, his Yuan spirit had entered the vast starry sky, and his strength had been greatly reduced. Let alone a grade 2 starry sky cultivator, whether he could even contend against a grade 1 starry sky cultivator was still a big unknown. How could he return to the martial heaven continent? Turning around, Longao looked at the huge circular plane in front of him and tried to touch the ceiling barrier. As expected, it was easy to leave, but difficult to return. The God Diviner had sealed the martial heaven continent, so no one could find its location. Otherwise, if it had been another plane, Longao's Yuan spirit would have been targeted by other starry sky cultivators as soon as it left. He didn't know if it was good luck or bad luck. Even now, Longao didn't know how his Yuan spirit had left his body and passed through the God Diviner's sealing barrier to arrive in the vast starry sky. If he had wanted to come, he would have come with his main body, but it was just his Yuan spirit. Longao didn't dare to casually leave. If the martial heaven continent's location changed, then finding a plane in the vast starry sky would be a fool's dream. Just what should he do? The plane's location is starting to change. Seeing the martial heaven continent's position slowly changing, Longao was shocked to the extreme. He didn't dare to be careless. He followed the martial heaven continent closely, afraid of losing it. In order to prevent others from finding the martial heaven continent, the God Diviner had not only set up a sealing barrier, but he had also constantly changed the martial heaven continent's position. That way, it would be very difficult for others to find its exact location. From this, it could be imagined just how powerful the God Diviner was. Continuing like this wasn't a solution. He had to find a way to return to the martial heaven continent as quickly as possible. No one knew whether or not he would lose the martial heaven continent. It was better to be safe than sorry. What if he lost it? The consequences would be unimaginable. Just like that, the martial heaven continent continued to change position. Longao didn't dare to fall behind. Time passed bit by bit. After an unknown amount of time, the martial heaven continent seemed to have found a suitable location and stopped. There were no planes around, and there wasn't even a single cultivator in the starry sky. Longao didn't know where he was, but overall, he wasn't in any danger. If he was discovered by a cultivator in the starry sky, he would definitely die. The martial heaven continent. Within the dragon seal space. Big sister, what happened? Why did Brother Long's Yuan spirit suddenly leave his body and leave the martial heaven continent? Bai Ling could clearly sense that her brother Long's Yuan spirit was no longer in the martial heaven continent. What did that mean? It meant that his Yuan spirit had entered the starry sky. If his Yuan spirit entered the starry sky and encountered a cultivator in the starry sky, it would definitely die. Bai Ling was terrified. Her brother Long's Yuan spirit had already left the martial heaven continent and was no longer under their control. Xiling also shook his head. He couldn't understand. With Longao's strength and situation, there's no way his Yuan spirit could leave the martial heaven continent. You and I both know what the God Diviner's sealing barrier means. What is going on? Even her big sister didn't know. Bai Ling was even more worried. Suddenly, she said, I want to leave this continent. I want to save Brother Long. Author's note. Send the first chapter here. Chapter 1879. Right now, Bai Ling didn't want to wait even a second longer. She knew that every minute she delayed meant that Long Chen would be in more danger. Bai Ling, don't mess around. Sister, I've always listened to you. Can you listen to me just this once? Looking at her younger sister, Violet Spirit sighed deeply. Bai Ling, if you insist on doing this, do you know what the consequences will be? Consequences? How could Bai Ling not know what the consequences would be? If the two of them were at their peak, let alone the martial heaven continent. They would be unstoppable even in the starry sky. But now, it was clearly impossible. For Brother Long, I'm willing to accept any consequences. Since that's the case, let's work together. We should be able to break through the God Diviner's seal. At that time, Long Fu will be able to summon back Longao's Yuan spirit as quickly as possible. As for you and me, we can't stay here. If they couldn't stay, they would have to part forever. Xialing's only worry wasn't the God Diviner. No matter how powerful the God Diviner was, he wouldn't be able to keep them here. What he was worried about was entering the starry sky. With their current situation, entering the starry sky would definitely cause them endless trouble. Sister, I'm sorry. Sister, if we leave the martial heaven continent, given the God Diviner's personality, he'll definitely move to the martial heaven plane. It'll be even more difficult for us to return in the future. How could Bai Ling not know that? But it was still the same. For Brother Long Chen, anything was worth it. Sister. She waved her hand. Before Bai Ling could say anything, Xialing had already guessed what his sister would say. Bai Ling, there's no problem with us taking action. But you have to agree to one condition. Otherwise, I won't do it, and you won't either. Sister, tell me. No matter what it is, I'll agree to it. How could Bai Ling give up now that things had gotten to this point? Let alone a condition, even if she had to die, Bai Ling wouldn't hesitate in the slightest. If you don't leave or abandon me, I will stay by your side in life and death. When we leave this time, you have to follow me back to that place to cultivate. A year from now, the passageway to the martial heaven continent will open. You can't come. As expected. Bai Ling was very kind, but that didn't mean that she was stupid. She had already guessed that her sister would do this, but she had no choice. For Brother Long, she could only choose to agree. It was still the same sentence. Every minute of delay would increase Brother Long's danger. She couldn't afford to waste time, and neither could Brother Long elder sister, I promise you. Xialing was definitely unwilling, but for the sake of Longao, for Bai Ling, and perhaps for herself, she had no other choice. Long Fu, how confident are you that you can bring back Longao's primordial spirit without being discovered by the oracle? If it's just me alone, it's almost impossible. But with you guys as my cover, I have full confidence. Move out. Xialing also knew the seriousness of the matter. If Longao's primordial spirit encountered other starry sky cultivators, the consequences would be unimaginable. Leaving behind the Class 8 starry sky spirit slave to protect Longao's body, the three immediately took the dragon seal and flew towards the 9 heavens. The dragon seal moved very quickly. In about a few minutes, the dragon seal had already reached the edge. Long Fu, wait for us to break the air shield. The oracle will probably appear in an instant. We will buy you 1 minute, is that enough? Enough. Long Fu had full confidence. If he couldn't save his master's primordial spirit within 1 minute, without being discovered by the oracle, then he might as well commit suicide. Younger sister, are you ready? I'm ready. Bai Ling had already been ready and couldn't wait. Bai Ling had already thought about it. If something really happened to Brother Long, then she would choose to die with him, and follow him in life and death, for generations to come. She took a deep breath. Xialing didn't immediately attack, because the three of them were looking for a weak point. After all, attacking a weak point was much easier than attacking other places. The attack had to be strong enough and fast enough. Otherwise, once the oracle seized the opportunity, he and Bai Ling would be in a lot of trouble. In fact, Xialing was also extremely depressed. He didn't know how Longao's primordial spirit could leave his body, pass through the oracle's seal, and leave the Qianwu continent. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he would have found it hard to believe. Elder sister, let's just find a place to attack. Bai Ling seemed to be impatient, because she didn't know what happened to Brother Long. If he was in danger because of her negligence, even if she died, she wouldn't be able to rest in peace. Xialing certainly knew that Bai Ling was anxious, but the more it was so, the more they had to be calm. Otherwise, one wrong step would lead to many mistakes. Miss Bai Ling, Master is fine for now. Don't worry. Miss Xialing is right. We have to find a weak point. Otherwise, even if we can break the seal, not only will we not be able to save Master, but we will also be in trouble. Hearing that Brother Long was fine for now, Bai Ling was finally relieved. However, she was still worried because in the vast starry sky, there were countless experts. If Brother Long encountered a starry sky cultivator in his primordial spirit state, he would definitely die. The more they delayed, the more danger Brother Long would be in. Xiling, Bai Ling, and even Long Fu were sensing all the seals around them. After all, even with the Oracle's super strength, it was impossible for him to set up seals without breaking them. Outside the martial heaven plane, unknowingly, a whole day and night had passed. Longao still didn't dare to walk around. If he was separated from the Sky Martial Plane, how would he find the Sky Martial Plane in the future? If that was the case, he would be in a real tragedy. It's starting again. Seeing the Martial Heaven Plane move once more, Longao was depressed to the extreme. However, he still had to follow closely. He couldn't lose sight of the Oracle, or the consequences would be unimaginable. Oh! A starry sky Yuan spirit. Who knows if it was because his luck was extremely bad, but just as Longao was following the Emperor, the figures of two people appeared not far away. Two level 1 starry sky cultivators were approaching from afar. Although there were no starry sky planes or starry sky cultivators around, they were still in the vast starry sky. It was impossible for them to not meet any starry sky cultivators. However, they were only first-rank starry sky cultivators. Even if they found the martial heaven plane, they wouldn't be able to break the seal. It was precisely because of this that the Oracle wasn't worried at all. With his power, even a starry sky ruler wouldn't be able to break through the seal and enter the martial heaven continent. P.S. The second chapter has been delivered. I slept late last night and woke up late today. Everyone, please forgive me. Little 9 will continue writing after eating. Today, all 10 chapters will be delivered before 10 p.m. to avoid making everyone wait. Chapter 1880. Kid, want to run? A man and a woman, one fat and one thin. The man looked wretched, while the woman looked coquettish. As soon as the two arrived, they sensed the aura of the other party, a grade 2 starry sky cultivator. If they could devour a grade 2 starry sky essence spirit, even if they did not have a 100% chance of breaking through to grade 2 starry sky cultivator, they would at least have an 80% chance. With such a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, how could the two choose to give up easily? Attack! They didn't even say a word of nonsense. The two of them were already heading towards Longao. A tiger would be bullied by a dog. If it were Longao at his peak, would the two dare to attack him? They would most likely turn around and run away. It was precisely because Longao's main body was not here, with only his essence spirit left, that the two grade 1 starry sky cultivators dared to attack him. This was human nature, bullying the weak and fearing the strong, whether it was an ordinary person or a powerful starry sky cultivator. They retreated again and again. Longao knew his current situation, so of course, he would not fight the two head-on. Although his essence spirit had left his body, Longao could still use teleportation. Under the constant changes, the two could not catch up with Longao's speed. It was a shock. The two never thought that the other party's speed would be so fast. What should we do? Outflank him. A man and a woman, separated from each other, quickly rushed towards Longao from the left and right. Before they arrived, the two tried to release the powerful starry sky force to suppress the other party. In the end, the two were too confident. Even if Longao's main body was not here, they would not be suppressed by the starry sky force. You're looking for death. Being chased by the two, even Longao felt a little angry. It was not that he could not beat the two, but because he could not attack. If the Heaven Martial Plane took this opportunity to move, where would he find the Heaven Martial Plane? However, people were always so cheap. The more you acted like this, the more the other party would chase after you. Ha ha ha, kid, let's see what you can do. Without waiting for the two to finish, Longao drew a line in the air towards the two. A shocking scene happened. The starry sky crack suddenly appeared, and before the man could react, the starry sky crack directly swallowed him. Under the spatial rift, there was almost no chance of survival. The girl's speed was faster, so she wasn't swallowed by the spatial crack. Even so, the woman was completely scared out of her wits. She screamed as if she had seen a ghost. She turned around and left quickly. Her speed was as fast as it could be. In the blink of an eye, she had disappeared without a trace. Longao didn't give chase. This time, he could kill a starry sky cultivator in one fell swoop and scare away another starry sky cultivator. It was all thanks to his shattering starry skies. It was hard to imagine. If he hadn't reached the 5th cycle of reincarnation and possessed the ability to shatter the starry sky, it would have been very difficult for him to withstand the attacks of the two of them. There would only be one final outcome, being devoured by the two of them. He had to return to the Sky Marshal continent. Good luck could not always favor him. This time, he might have killed one person with the help of shattering starry skies and scared away another. But what about the next starry sky cultivator? Longao could almost affirm that if the person who came was a starry sky cultivator of grade 3 or above, how could he resist? Even if he had the ability to shatter the starry sky, it would still be difficult for him to kill the other party. In that case, he would still die without a doubt. Therefore, he had to return to the Sky Marshal continent as soon as possible and return to his original body. Only then could he protect himself. Staring at the Sky Marshal plane in front of him, Longao thought about it. For a while, he couldn't think of a better way to enter the Sky Marshal continent. Not to mention the current him, even if he was at his peak, it would be impossible for him to break the seal. The only way was to find the Starry Sky Region Emperor. But could he find him? The Sky Marshal continent began to move again. Just as Longao was about to continue following, a terrifying aura was suddenly released. It was less than 100 meters away from Longao's position. This was luck. If Longao was not here, but on the other side of the plane, then even if Long Fu, Xiling, and Bai Ling joined forces, it would be a little troublesome. Master, come in quickly. Hearing Long Fu's words, Longao was delighted. He was immediately enveloped by the light of the dragon seal. In the next second, he disappeared from the vast starry sky, entering the dragon seal's space. Finding the weakest point, Xiling, Bai Ling, and even Long Fu worked together to break the seal. If the two of them had been at their peak, it wouldn't have been a problem. But now, whether it was Xiling or Bai Ling, their Yuan spirits had been heavily injured. It had not been easy for them to recover to the starry sky. Now, the damage to the two of them would be magnified infinitely. That was precisely the case. Xiling had already decided that after breaking the seal and saving Longao, the two of them could not stay any longer. Although it would be more dangerous to return to the starry sky, their recovery speed would be much faster than on the Sky Marshal continent. Outer Sea, Crystal Cavern. Opening his eyes, the God Diviner's expression changed. He had never imagined that someone would be able to break his seal. Furthermore, this person wasn't outside this plane, but within it. The God Diviner's figure vanished. In the next second, he appeared at the edge of the plane. Xiling. God Diviner, long time no see. How have you been? The God Diviner was shocked to see his old acquaintance Xiling. But when he saw that Xiling's true body had been destroyed and only his Yuan spirit remained, his expression changed once more. God Diviner, there is no enmity between us. Back then, the two of us were stranded here. Now, we want to leave and return to the starry sky. You won't stop us, right? If Xiling and Bai Ling were at their peak, the God Diviner naturally wouldn't stop them. After all, Xiling and Bai Ling's power was obvious. But now, the situation was completely different. The God Diviner, Xiling, and Bai Ling had already left this plane. They were outside the Marshal Heaven continent, in other words, in the starry sky. If I devour your Yuan spirits, my power will advance. Although I won't be able to reach that level, I think I'll be close. What do you think? Xiling and Bai Ling didn't show the slightest fear. Xiling sneered, you're right. Devouring our Yuan spirits will be of great help to you. However, you can try it. If we self-detonate our Yuan spirits, You won't be able to block it. At that time, the three of us will die and enter the cycle of reincarnation. What do you think? Hearing Xiling's threat, the god diviner's expression changed. He knew that Xiling's threat was real. If the two of them really chose to self-detonate, even he wouldn't be able to block such a terrifying attack. Chapter 1881. If there's nothing else, we'll be taking our leave. Xiling and Bai Ling didn't waste any more words. They turned and left. Seeing the two of them disappear, the god diviner's expression grew gloomier. He had long since known that Xiling and Bai Ling had entered the martial heaven continent. However, he hadn't known that the two of them were with Longao. The god diviner's intentions had been very simple. He had wanted to raise the two of them first. Once he was strong enough, he would deal with them. But the result? Before he could do anything, Xiling and Bai Ling had already left. The god diviner knew that Xiling and Bai Ling had been afraid that he would attack first, so they had taken the initiative. Now that the two of them had left, there wouldn't be such a rare opportunity in the future. There was no need to gamble. In the end, the god diviner was afraid. Attacking was a gamble. If he won, his strength would advance. But what if he lost? He sighed deeply. The god diviner returned to the martial heaven continent and repaired the seal. His Yuan spirit returned to his main body. However, as soon as Longao returned, he impatiently entered the dragon seal space. It seemed he already knew what had happened. Long Fu, how do I leave the martial heaven continent? After listening to Long Fu's explanation, Longao understood what had happened. In the end, the two of them had been forced to break the seal in order to save him. In other words, Xiling and Bai Ling had already left the martial heaven continent and entered the starry sky. No one knew whether they were alive or dead. If Xiling and Bai Ling were in their peak condition, Longao wouldn't be worried. After all, the two of them were strong enough to dominate the starry sky. Even the god diviner wouldn't be a match for them. Even with their Yuan spirits, the god diviner hadn't been able to keep them. However, the current situation was completely different. Xiling and Bai Ling's main bodies had already died. Only their Yuan spirits remained. Once they entered the starry sky, it was easy to imagine what would happen. Master, I have no way to break the seal. Longao knew that if even Long Fu was unable to break the seal, then it would be even more impossible for others. As for himself, he didn't even need to think about it. Could it be that the two of them had to face it alone? He blamed himself. Guilt. Longao could not understand why his primordial spirit would leave his body for no reason. Furthermore, his primordial spirit had broken through the seal and entered the vast starry sky. If not for this, Xiling and Bai Ling would not have left the sky martial continent. Master, in a year, I can leave the martial heaven continent with you. 1 year. 1 year was too long, because Longao knew very well that many things could happen in 1 year. Master, it might not be a bad thing for the two young ladies to leave the martial heaven continent and return to the starry sky. What do you mean? Longao was very curious because Xiling and Bai Ling's situation was obvious. Once they entered the vast universe, it would be very dangerous and they could be swallowed at any time. How was that not a bad thing? Master, I'm sure you've already guessed Xiling and Bai Ling's strength. If they stay in this middle grade plane, their recovery speed will be too slow. If they enter the starry sky, my guess is that their recovery speed will increase by hundreds of times. So that's how it was. Even so, he was still incomparably worried. However, there was no way around it. No matter how worried he was, there was no way he could leave the martial heaven continent and enter the starry sky. If he told the god diviner, wouldn't he be exposing his relationship with the two of them? At that time, it would be even more troublesome. Now that things had reached this point, what choice did he have? He could only choose to leave the martial heaven continent in a year and enter the starry sky to search for the two of them. Longao sat quietly on the ground. For a moment, he had yet to regain his senses. Master, there's only one thing you need to do now. Stabilize your cultivation base and increase your strength as quickly as possible. Long Fu continued, In the vast starry sky, there are countless experts. Master, if you're not strong enough, once you enter the starry sky, not only will you not be able to save the two young ladies, but even you will not be able to save them. At this point, Long Fu did not continue. Longao wasn't a fool. He naturally understood. Long Fu was right. He had to pull himself together. If he wasn't strong enough, even if he could enter the starry sky, it would be futile. At that time, not only would he not be able to find the two of them, he might even lose his life. After leaving the Scarlet Flame Town, Longao didn't return to the Massacre Abyss. With his current power, he believed that as long as someone wasn't blind, they wouldn't dare to cause trouble in the Massacre Abyss. 9 provinces continent. Sky continent, Earth continent, Sun continent, Moon continent, Setting Sun continent, Cloud continent, Scarlet continent, Illusion continent, and Black Forest continent. A total of 9 provinces. Longao stayed in the Sky continent. He didn't cultivate on the spot. Instead, he prepared to walk around, hoping to merge with heaven and earth and stabilize his cultivation base as quickly as possible. Just at this moment. Big brother, someone's calling me. What do you mean? Longao was very curious. He didn't know who was calling Long Ming. 9 nether space. 9 nether space? Longao already understood what Long Ming meant. In this case, he could only go to the 9 nether space. However, it was obviously not enough to rely on his strength alone. Even if he had broken through to the Starry Sky Cultivator, things would be much easier with Long Ming's help. At the passage. With the help of treasures and Longao's strength, Long Ming quickly opened the passage to the 9 nether space. 9 nether earthly tiger, abyss demon scorpion, blue sky lion, blood-eyed demonic ape, heavenly mountain bull, bloodthirsty human face spider, gold-devouring flying ant, hell demon dog, and reaper mantis. Long Ming had already destroyed the other 8 races. In other words, only the 9 nether peak remained in the 9 nether space. Who was calling Long Ming? Big brother, over there. Longao didn't hesitate at all. He quickly went to the left. On the top of a cold mountain, a man in black sat quietly. There was no expression on his face, like a zombie. Are you calling me? Yes. You are Longao? Yes. Did the other party know him? As if sensing something, Longao's face changed dramatically. It would appear that you've already guessed it. Back then, when you entered my training grounds, you nearly caused the destruction of my Yuan spirit. However, you don't have to worry. I've not called you all here for revenge. Instead, I've come to help you all. Help us. Longao didn't quite believe it because he could clearly sense that the man in black in front of him was very powerful. He was at least a level 7 Starry Sky Cultivator. Even if the 4 of them joined forces, they wouldn't be a match for such a super existence. Senior, we don't understand what you mean. Chapter 1882. My name is 9 Nether. Starry Sky Domain Lord. Longao and Long Ming's expressions changed when they sensed the powerful aura released by the other party. 9 Nether Domain Lord. It turned out that the other party wasn't a Starry Sky Cultivator at all, but a genuine Starry Sky Domain Lord. Little guy, you're from the 9 Nether Earthly Tiger clan, but you're not. Senior, what do you mean? You and I are from the same clan called the 9 Nether clan, and you're also a 9 Nether Tiger. The 9 Nether Domain Lord released a very strange power, but Long Ming's expression changed drastically because the aura was almost exactly the same as his. There was no doubt that the 9 Nether Domain Lord was telling the truth. He wasn't from the 9 Nether Earthly Tiger clan at all, but from the 9 Nether clan. Then who are you, Senior? You can just call me Grandpa. For some reason, Long Ming suddenly felt that the 9 Nether Domain Lord in front of him was very amiable, and he subconsciously called out, Grandpa. Longao didn't stop him. He could clearly sense that the 9 Nether Domain Lord in front of him didn't have the slightest malice toward Long Ming. Okay. The 9 Nether Domain Lord got up and came in front of Long Ming. He stretched out his hand and gently stroked Long Ming's head with a doting expression. Senior 9 Nether, what do you mean? Just tell me. Longao knew very well that the Nine Nether Domain Lord couldn't have summoned the two of them for a simple reunion. Did the Nine Nether Domain Lord want to keep Long Ming? Sure enough. Longao, you're a straightforward person. I never thought that you and Long Ming could break through to Starry Sky Cultivator in such a short time. What I mean is very simple. Long Ming will follow me from now on, and I'll let him inherit the Nine Nether Clan's legacy. He'll become a Starry Sky Domain Lord in at least 10 years, or at most 100 years. I don't want to. I want to follow Big Brother. Longao wasn't as impulsive as Long Ming. If Long Ming could really inherit the Nine Nether Clan's legacy and become a Starry Sky Domain Lord, then it would indeed be much better for him to stay by the Nine Nether Domain Lord's side. Senior Nine Nether, then I'll have to trouble you. Okay. The Nine Nether Patriarch was not surprised at all. He seemed to have guessed that Longao would definitely agree to his request. Long Ming, listen to me. Stay here and cultivate. Come look for me when you break through to the Starry Sky Region Lord Realm. Since Longao had made up his mind, he would not change it. Long Ming had been with his elder brother for so long, so he was very clear about his elder brother's personality. Once he had decided on something, he would not change his mind under normal circumstances. He nodded. Long Ming said reluctantly, "Big brother, you must be careful. Once you accept the inheritance and break through to the Cosmic Domain Lord level, I will definitely come and find you." Longao smiled. It was a good thing that Long Ming had a good home. Longao was just a little reluctant. In just one day, Xiling and Bai Ling had left first, and then Long Ming had stayed behind. It was as if all his energy had been sucked out. Longao, thank you for taking care of Long Ming for so many years. I have something for you. The Nine Nether Domain Lord took out a piece of clothing and said, "This is called the Nine Nether Armor. Once you wear it, you can withstand the attacks of any cultivator below the Starry Sky Region Lord level." Longao, who had wanted to refuse, suddenly heard the power of the Nine Nether Armor and took it with one hand. Even if he did not use it, he could give it to Aoshue. After all, Aoshue had been pregnant for many years. What would he do if something happened to her? Thank you, Senior. You're welcome. Longao stayed in the Nine Nether space for 3 days before he got up and left. He did not continue to stay outside. After Xiling, Bai Ling, and Long Ming left one after another, Longao seemed to feel a little tired and wanted to return to the Massacre Abyss. The Massacre Abyss. The first thing Longao did when he returned was to give the Nine Nether armor that he had just obtained to Aoshue. Not only that, Longao also gave the Ice and Fire 9-layered cauldron that he had obtained to Long Ying. As his cultivation broke through to the second level of the Starry Sky Cultivator, this Starry Sky divine weapon did not seem to be of much use. "Brother Long, what's wrong with you?" Looking at the dispirited Longao, both Aoshue and Yu Yin seemed a little curious. They did not know what had happened to their brother Long. After going out for a trip, he had become a little different. So far, no one knew about Xiling, Bai Ling, and Long Ming. Longao did not hide anything and roughly told them everything that had happened before. So that was it. Aoshue and Yu Yin finally understood why Brother Long was like this. After losing Xiling, Bai Ling, and Long Ming, he must be unhappy. The two of them looked at each other and sighed helplessly. Brother Long, Sister Bai Ling just went to the vast starry sky and did not do anything. After a year, we will accompany you to the vast starry sky and look for Sister Bai Ling Yen. How do you feel after devouring the starry sky divine deities? Not bad. I have a hunch that Sister Aoshue and I will be able to break through to the Starry Sky Cultivator realm in a month at most. A month was not a long time, but it was not short either. The two devoured the Starry Sky divine deities. At this rate, they should be able to reach the third level of the Starry Sky Cultivator realm in a year. However, according to the intensity of the catastrophe, not to mention a third level, even a 9th level Starry Sky Cultivator might not be able to handle it. He did not continue with the matter of the 9th level Bai Ling and Long Ming because the most important thing now was to think about how to deal with the catastrophe in a year's time. If anything went wrong, not only himself, but the entire Dragon Valley would fall into eternal damnation. Aoshue, how's your stomach? Longao felt a deep sense of helplessness at the thought of his child being so awesome. He had never seen a monster who started cultivating in the womb. It was hard to imagine what kind of strength this child would have once he was born. Would he be a Xiantian realm cultivator directly? Aoshue rubbed her stomach happily and said, since I devoured all kinds of energy, I can feel his strength. I don't know if my feeling is right, but I found that our child seems to have the strength of a great emperor. The strength of a great emperor? Longao swallowed his saliva fiercely. Even if he started cultivating in the womb, this kind of cultivation speed was a little terrifying. Now that he was a great emperor realm cultivator in the womb, what would happen once he was born? Would he be a Nirvana realm cultivator directly? Longao was shocked to the extreme because he never thought that his child would be so powerful. But at the same time, he was very worried. Aoshue, how is your body? Tell me if there is any reaction, don't stretch yourself, understand? P.S. Why didn't everyone vote? The votes didn't go up today, it's depressing. Chapter 1883. Longao was very worried about Aoshue's safety. Although the child was gifted and had started cultivating in the womb, it still needed to devour a lot of energy. Aoshue smiled. In the vast starry sky. The vast starry sky was boundless. Even the starry sky domain emperor could not reach the edge of the vast starry sky. In other words, no one knew how big the vast starry sky was. Xiling and Bai Ling worked together to break the seal and shield, but their primordial spirits were damaged again and were very weak. If they were in their prime, they would not be afraid of any starry sky cultivators. They could do whatever they wanted in the vast starry sky. But now, Xiling and Bai Ling were very careful because they knew very well that if they encountered any starry sky cultivators, they would be doomed. Bai Ling, do you regret it? Bai Ling, of course, knew what her sister meant. Smiling, Bai Ling said with a happy face, I have no regrets. These 4 simple words were enough to explain Bai Ling's intentions. Sister, are we really going back to that place? You don't want to? We've been there for countless years. I'm tired of life there. If possible, I don't want to go back. Not only Bai Ling, but Xiling also did not want to go back. But could they not go back? With a deep sigh, Xiling said helplessly, with our current injuries, staying in the vast starry sky will only lead to death. This time, we'll try to recover our primordial spirits in the shortest time possible. Bai Ling, don't forget what you promised me. Sister, I remember. Starry sky primordial spirits. At this moment, suddenly, many starry sky cultivators shot over from not far away. Greed was written all over their faces because they could clearly sense how powerful the two's primordial spirits were. Get out of my way. Xiling began to attack wildly. Although his primordial spirit had not recovered, Xiling's strength was not something that ordinary starry sky cultivators could compete with. Sister, let's go. If you force yourself to use the power of the origin, it will hurt your foundation. Xiling and Bai Ling turned around and left quickly. The two of them were extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, they had disappeared into the vast starry sky. Long Batian and Tian Dao sensed it at the same time. The two of them stood up and headed towards the Crystal Palace. Outer Sea. In the Crystal Palace. You two know? The two of them looked at each other, and Tian Dao said, Who is the oracle? He was actually able to break through the seal that you set up. Both Long Batian and Heaven Dao were shocked. Neither of them could figure out who it was that had broken through Master God Diviner's sealing barrier. It was simply unbelievable. Xiling, Bai Ling, is known as the strongest genling in the vast universe. Her attack power is number 1. She used to be invincible in the vast universe. With such a domineering background, I don't know why their true bodies died, and only their primordial spirits remained. Furthermore, they entered the Tianwu plane. I miscalculated. If I had known this would happen, I would have dealt with them. Regret. Regret was unbearable. If he had acted earlier, he would have had the opportunity to devour the two genling. That way, his strength would have improved further. But what was the result? Everything was gone. Seeing that Master God Diviner's expression didn't look too good, the two of them didn't continue asking. Both of you have reached the Cosmic Zone Lord level. You are qualified to enter the fourth space of the Cosmic Secret Realm. The two of them were delighted to hear that. They had stayed here for so many years because they wanted to enter the fourth or even the fifth space of the Cosmic Secret Realm. Otherwise, they would have left long ago. You have 1 year to prepare. Once the catastrophe is over, you can enter. F***CK. The two of them cursed in their hearts. However, the Cosmic Secret Realm was still under Master God Diviner's control. As long as Master God Diviner didn't agree, the two of them couldn't enter, even if they had reached the Cosmic Zone Lord level. You don't want to? No, we will follow your arrangements. Longbation's attitude was as respectful as it could be because he understood that everything he had was given to him by Master God Diviner. If Master God Diviner could give him what he wanted, he could also take everything away. Tian Dao was different. He was proud and arrogant. He had always thought that his talent was far superior to Master God Diviner's, so he wanted to take over Master God Diviner's position and control the Cosmic Secret Realm. Master God Diviner knew what Tian Dao was thinking, but he didn't take Tian Dao seriously. Tian Dao left. Long Batian thought for a moment and said, Master God Diviner, Longao's cultivation has just reached the second level of the Cosmic Secret Realm. Even if he is talented, he can only reach the third level in a year. Given his strength, once he enters the fourth space of the Cosmic Secret Realm, I'm afraid he will die. What do you mean? Master God Diviner asked instead of answering directly. Long Batian was sincerely concerned about Longao's safety. Although Longao was the reincarnation of that person, he was still his junior disciple. Thinking of this, Long Batian said, Master God Diviner, what I mean is very simple. I hope that Longao will not enter the Cosmic Secret Realm in a year. It won't be too late for him to enter when the next space opens. Longbation's meaning was very clear. For the sake of Longao's safety, he didn't want Longao to enter the Cosmic Secret Realm in a year. The marvelous mathematician's face was very indifferent. His voice was even more indifferent as he said, this matter depends on Longao's opinion. If the Starry Sky Secret Land opens a year later and Longao does not want to enter, I will not force him. Are you satisfied? Yes, thank you, Master God Diviner. If there is nothing else, you can leave first. Master God Diviner directly asked Long Batian to leave. If it had been anyone else, would they have dared to do this? Long Batian was a ruler of the Starry Sky. Let alone the martial heaven continent, even in the Starry Sky, he was an overlord. However, due to the difference in power, Master God Diviner definitely had the qualifications to do this. Long Batian wasn't dissatisfied. Yes, please. Long Batian tactfully turned and left. In the blink of an eye, he had left the Crystal Palace and the Outer Sea. The only person left in the Crystal Palace was Master God Diviner. Suddenly, Master God Diviner sneered and muttered, no one can stop me. No matter who it is, anyone who dares to stop me will be killed without mercy. Killing intent erupted from Master God Diviner's body, enveloping the Crystal Palace. The two people who had just left couldn't help sucking in cold breaths when they sensed that killing intent. Author's note, my knuckles hurt terribly. I went to have them checked in the afternoon, but the doctor said I should rest more. When I came back, my wife wouldn't let me continue. There's no way around it. I promised everyone that I would do it. This is the 6th chapter. Even if I don't sleep tonight, I'll finish the remaining 4 chapters. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.